straight out of the T-Dot.
That's what it is.
Live from the 6 boroughs.
Don't go nowhere.
For sure. Welcome to Standing in the 6 with your hosts Michael and Constantine.
Now, what was it? Was it 2 years ago or was it a year ago we had you on the show? It had to be a year ago.
No, man.
No.
We've been here for a year. We've been here.
Yes.
You've been here since October.
That's right. So it was
Yeah,
probably,
right after TIFF.
Yeah.
So this had to be at least a year and a half.
Yeah, minimum.
Okay, so for people
Or
that
almost 2 maybe.
are, probably.
Yeah.
You were probably, I think, number 4 or 5. So for everyone listening, when we first had you on the show, we were obviously acquaintances, and now we're sharing floor space.
We're neighbors.
We're neighbors right now, and what an amazing journey it's been. I mean, Neil, I remember this. You told me about this beautiful space in Scarborough. By the way, a lot of people don't consider this Scarborough.
It's not.
It's North York.
It's North York.
North York,
Across the street on the other side is Scarborough. This is like the
division line.
Don't you
Yeah.
notice the barbed wire where it begins and ends?
yeah.
So Victoria Park 401.
Basically, Scarborough's like Mexico, and we're in the U.S.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, there
Yeah,
you go.
exactly.
That's right. So Neil obviously
There's,
brings up.
for those listening, there's air quotes on that.
Yeah.
On that, yeah.
So Neil comes and says, Constantine, there's this great opportunity here. We were actually looking at finding space because our rent downtown went through the roof.
And I think what happened was,
I never heard that before.
I think what happened was you just kind of mentioned it in passing, kind of venting like, oh, now we got to find this office because
Yeah.
we need to move.
Right.
And I had literally been sort of already looking at this place,
Right.
kind of leaning towards it.
Right.
We
Yeah.
came to check it, yeah, because of you, but in the middle of TIFF. It was
Yes,
in the middle
that's
of
right.
TIFF.
So I was put on to this building
Yes.
on the 4th floor through Autism Speaks Canada, whom I work with. And
Right.
they were like, listen, half the floor is available. And I was already looking for a new place because I knew my lease at my old office was up last year.
Yeah. And they also did the increase.
Like it would have been just regular sort of industry standard increase of like 2% or something. Nothing. It wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't like what
Shout-
happened to you guys.
Shout out to Liberty Village.
Yeah.
Right? Do you miss it?
No, not at all.
Okay, yeah, sorry, Liberty.
No. I love Liberty in terms of like lots of fun stuff,
Yeah.
but like we all get jaded, right? Like driving an hour and a half every day to and from work each way. And then if there's a concert or a festival, or like imagine if the Jays and the Raptors are playing on the same day.
Right.
Oh,
Like
yeah, it's brutal.
the Gardner.
That's brutal.
It was just going through the city, and it was half an hour alone, just going from Liberty Village to like to the beaches.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
30, 40 minutes. There's one road into Liberty Village, one road out, more condos, less parking. When we moved there, the parking was $5 a day. It turned into like the cheapest lot was like $8 or $9 a day.
Right.
So even for myself and my staff, it was just like, and then what we were paying there,
Yeah.
rent, it's downtown, prime real estate.
Right.
Live Nation moved there. Sony Music moved their head offices
right.
there. Universal just built a building there.
Yeah.
All these big tech companies are moving into the area, so that's driving the prices up. And I was like, well, what we're getting and spending versus what the opportunity is to just kind of move here.
Yeah.
It was almost a no-brainer.
I know.
But the biggest concern for me was, will it affect the clients? Because now my clients loved coming to Liberty Village
Right.
because they work 9 to 5 day jobs in Mississauga, Markham, wherever. But
Yeah.
Liberty Village is like, oh, it's a cool spot. We're going to grab lunch before a meeting.
Yes.
Or, oh, we're going to
Yeah.
grab lunch after a meeting. Oh, there's
Yeah.
beautiful patios.
Yes.
There's nice eye candy, whatever.
$4 parking for an hour. I guess it's worth it because it's Liberty Village. Like they had a different
For
perspective.
them, it was, it was a
Yeah.
different perspective, which was
Yeah.
the perspective I had when I first went there years ago.
Yeah,
Right.
people are dressed up to walk their dogs.
Right? Yeah.
Sure.
But like years later, right? It's like, okay, I'm over it. Like,
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
allure's gone.
Yeah.
And I remember talking with you. One of our concern was, I mean, we had a very, very small staff, but it was like, our staff, are they going to move over when we take the plunge? I mean, for us living in the east side, it's so much nicer to be so close to and not have to worry about the traffic and all that.
Yeah.
But and also what we're getting for the space, I mean, is pretty. I don't think you can find it anywhere else, man.
Yeah. We got pretty lucky, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, since then, obviously the thing that we'll probably kind of get into it a little bit today, but that's kind of changing everything right now is COVID, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think it's important to know, like, you know, everyone that knows you, they know that you are an event connoisseur, mastermind.
I don't know about that, but
Okay.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you know, your business completely specializes in, you know,
Majority, not all, but yeah,
Well,
it's 80% of our business.
right,
Yeah.
right. And for us, that was the exact same thing, right? Everything to do with events, everything to do with you know, CP tied to events, and then COVID came and just completely wiped everything away, right?
Yeah.
And we're still like, what are we now? This would be considered the 12th month of COVID. I know we officially went on lockdown
But
in March.
it's like our 10th in a sense. But
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
We're still here, and at the end of the day, nothing's really changed. And I've kind of been seeing a lot of your, you know, your posts on Facebook.
It's kind of crazy when you said that. Nothing's really changed in that time,
Nothing.
right? Yeah,
I mean, things got worse. Nothing got better.
yeah. There hasn't.
I kind of I agree and disagree.
Okay, tell me. What do you mean by disagree?
Before I tell you why I say that,
Yeah.
I thought
Mike,
I thought you signed the form that said you're not allowed to disagree with
right?
Constantine. Before
it's not. He's going to agree. When I tell him why I'm saying that, he'll be like, "You both are going to be like, okay, that makes sense."
yeah.
Okay.
But I don't really want to talk about a bad time in my life, which was last year. Let's not talk about. I'm joking.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about COVID, man. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
trauma. No.
Yeah.
No. I agree with what you're saying
Yeah.
in terms of the economy on
Yeah.
a larger quantitative sort of
Yeah.
scale.
Yeah.
Businesses are closing every day. They're extending lockdowns. People are going crazy. Gyms are closed. Like, I agree with that. Nothing's really changed.
Yeah.
Cases are going up.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting more divisive. But not to sound cheesy, but I know you guys are really into this kind of stuff. But
Hold on, Neil. 1 second. My ADD kicked in right now, if you want to call that.
Yeah.
Or ADD or whatever. Mike, is the record on the sound happening right now?
I have no idea.
Can you just double check? Because if that's not happening, that's not good.
hey, man, then I guess Mike's not as good paying attention to detail.
Yeah. Yes.
Is it recording?
Record. There's the light by record.
But is it showing the number, or is it showing all zeros?
No. It's we're at the 12th minute.
Okay. See, I forgot that. That's kind of messed. I think COVID did that to me.
It's okay.
It's all good.
COVID did a lot to us.
You know what? Let's just take the liberty. I'm going to turn Neil's mic down a little.
Why is it too loud?
Yeah, just it's peaking a little bit.
Maybe I'm talking too loud. My daughter says when I have my headphones on, I speak too loud.
Really?
Yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
already a loud talker, so
that's a bit too low, Mike.
Is it?
Is it peaking?
Talk now?
check.
Yeah, that's good.
Up
That's
to you
good.
guys.
Okay, and you see the record number is 12 minutes. Perfect. We're good to go. Excellent. So, Neil, sorry about that. I apologize.
Back to it.
Okay, so I feel as though you guys will actually agree with my opinion on this.
Okay.
Again, I agree with you that on a larger quantitative scale, debt, mental health, divisiveness, industries closing, all that stuff, cases going up, death counts going up, like that's not good. And it really hasn't changed.
Yeah.
It might have even gotten worse. Fair point. But I think there's also sort of a glass half full approach to it, that a lot more creativity has come out of it. There's been some new opportunities in industries that have come out of it. Some still in its infancy.
Okay.
I don't want to get into it too deep, but like, I'm not into this myself, but like stock markets at an all-time high,
Right.
cryptocurrencies at an all-time
Mhm.
high, creativity and video contents at an all-time high in terms of content creation and sort of like content out there in the world.
PPE manufacturing and sales are through
It's
the
a new
roof.
industry for now, right?
Yeah.
No one knew that they would know what PPE was.
And then the one thing for me, is I've grown a lot in the last 10 months because I had no choice. I could sit there and cry and say I lost all this money and all this business and
Yeah.
I was on the brink of collapse. I could cry about all these things. But honestly, like when we sat down in the lockdown back in April, I sat at home for a couple of weeks, not really knowing my purpose, what I'm going to do. How could I be so vulnerable in terms of like exposed to have a business that, you
Yeah.
know, all my business, my gym was closed, everything. So, you know, there's a bit of reflection. I'm fortunate that I didn't get depressed by any means, but I definitely wasn't having a good day. I wasn't really waking up ready to take on the world.
Mhm.
Had a couple weeks of self-reflection, and look, to be honest, I've learned a lot about technology now because I had to start going virtual and I had to start doing Zoom calls and I had to start working with my staff remotely. I didn't know how to use Teams and Google Drive. I didn't know how to set up a Zoom call. I didn't know how to do these things.
Right.
I know how to do it all now. I'm actually showing other people how to do it.
Yeah.
I took a course on mental health for myself because of a family member that I have that suffers from it. I'm now teaching the course a year later.
Oh wow.
Oh wow, didn't know that.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah. I took the course. I think it was like May to August, and then they asked me to actually be one of the people to help sort of facilitate the course.
Okay.
I did it in September until December, and now the new session will start at the end of January, and we're going to be doing another course. So the ability to stay home and not be so in the weeds of working in business, that allowed me to kind of work on some self-reflection and personal development. So I took the time to really work on personal development. I like I said, the mental health thing, technology.
Yeah.
I started meditating. I actually really love it. It really works.
So let's just stop for a second. What's your routine now? Like, I mean, you wake up. Look, they say when you first wake up in the morning, what you should not do is go right to your phone, like, which is what most people do,
Okay,
right?
perfect. Let me stop you.
Yeah.
I used to do that. Get up, do whatever, brush my teeth, check my phone, whatever.
Yeah.
Facebook,
Yeah.
talk crap on Facebook for about 20 minutes.
Okay, you brush your teeth before checking your phone?
Yeah.
Really? Wow, that's amazing.
That much I do.
That's good. That's pretty impressive. Right?
Although I'm not going to lie, there's sometimes I'll go to Instagram as I'm walking to the bathroom, and I'll see a video and I'll press play and I'm watching the video brush.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
But I made a point. Exactly my point. I'll get exactly my point.
Yeah.
I decided in the morning to dedicate 30 minutes to an hour to reading every day. Because, we say we want to do things, but life gets in our way. Work, family, whatever.
Yeah.
We procrastinate a lot. But I was like, I have nothing to procrastinate about because I have no work. I have nothing. My gym's closed. My store downtown's closed. My company right now is zero business coming in. We don't know what we're going to do.
Right.
And I was like, after all these years of hustling and working hard, let me just take a month to myself. That's what I did. I took April to myself and said, I don't care. At the end of the day, I'm resilient. I'll figure it out. But let me just take some time and just take a step back.
Yeah.
That's when I started meditating. That's when I started reading again in the morning. And I told myself, get off of social media or don't get on as much.
Yeah.
And take that time that's not really productive by going on social media for half an hour in the morning and just read.
Right.
What are you reading?
Oh, all self-development stuff. So I read this book that still sits with me right now, specifically. It's called Ego is the Enemy.
Okay. I think.
Hold on, Neil. Can you just share a little bit what that book is? Because to me, we speak on ego and humility all the time. What would you say the base of
Wow,
the
what a
book is?
title!
Bro,
Ego is the
I'm going to
enemy.
bring it in for you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bro,
What's it about? Like, as an
it
idea?
really just explains how ego can be, like, our ego can really hold us back. That we can't harness our full power because of our egos. And it doesn't mean you're some egotistical, cocky guy.
Right.
It doesn't just mean ego on the exterior. It could be an ego on the interior. I'm sure
Okay.
you've had meetings or interactions where you walk away thinking that guy's a clown.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I don't get it. Or
Yeah.
I'm better than that guy. Like,
Right.
that's just your own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just really like a book that really, honestly, man, it humbled me. You know, we talk about, the title last time I think was The Guy with the Golden Rolodex or something.
Yeah.
And, we make these jokes and but even whether you notice it or not, these little things, these little compliments, sometimes they build you up.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to take compliments and appreciate and accept them, but you also have to know how to manage them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the industries that I've always been in, my compliments turned into, I don't want to say bribes, but just like people were all over me. Like, oh, I need free tickets. Oh, Neil has access to this. Neil, I need this. Neil, I need that. You're the man.
It
Yeah.
becomes
You're
your
the guy.
reputation.
You're the guy with the golden Rolodex.
You're the guy that can get the PS5.
I'm the guy that can get the PS5.
Is this true?
Yes.
I'm the guy that got you a deal on your car.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
But like,
Exactly. Yeah.
like, I would be lying to you to tell you that at some point that doesn't just build up my ego
right.
Yeah.
internally and externally. When I was running my nightclubs years ago, like, think about this.
And it's a reputation to sustain.
And
You
then you
feel
gotta
the pressure,
sustain it.
like, okay, I got to be this guy.
you got to be that guy.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, oh, wait a second. I can't get a PS5. No. And I said that. Like, let's use the PS5 as an example.
Yeah.
I said to my daughter, I was like, this year financially has been my worst year ever
Right.
since I've been an adult.
Right.
And I'm like, do I really want to go and spend $500-600 on a PS5 for my son?
Right.
He's understood that finances aren't the best this year.
Yeah.
He asked for it, but he was like, I understand if you can't get it.
Right.
Mhm.
But then it became a challenge and an ego thing for me that, no, I can get it.
He knew that. He's like, I mean, if you could get it, I mean,
probably
but no one
did.
can though.
Yeah.
He
You know?
probably did, right?
Yeah.
So then I said to my
Threw it out
daughter,
there
I
for
was
you.
like, everything's telling me I shouldn't get it. But I'm like, but I still want to get it for him. And
Right.
then I kind of made a joke and I was like, am I doing it for him or am I doing it for me?
Right.
Like, who am
Right.
I
Yeah,
really doing
that's
this for?
hilarious.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
ego, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Now-
challenge to
but
be a
now
hunter and
now-
gatherer.
Now let me tell you the new Neil
Okay.
versus the old Neil.
Okay.
Hey, that's the title.
Let's
There's
say
the title
There
of the
it is.
episode.
You just
let's say
named-
this was December 2019. So I knew that the PS5 was, people wanted it. It was
Yeah.
kind of hard to get. I didn't know to the extent of how hard it was.
Right.
Okay. Like I'm not a gamer. I don't play.
Yeah.
My son and I don't play games together.
Yeah.
I knew it was hard. I knew it was selling out, but I was still like, well, Sony used to be my client.
Right. Right.
I know a lot of people.
Yeah.
1-2 emails and I'll get it. Well, I called friends of mine that that are like the general managers of Walmart and other places. I called my friends at Sony. No one could get. So then I'm like, oh, this is real. This is
Right.
hard.
This
Yeah.
is Turbo Man,
Yeah.
This
right?
is, this is hard.
Remember Jingle All the Way? Turbo Man?
This is That's
Yeah,
yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I was like, you know what? Let me just. I don't have the energy really to sit there and run around looking for a PS5. Let me just go to Facebook and
Yeah.
just post like, hey man, who's got a plug for PS5?
Hey, smart.
So immediately I got 5 or 6 guys. Yeah, I got one, but they wanted $1,000, and I was
Right.
like, no.
What's the
Maybe-
retail on it?
I think like 500. That's
Yeah.
what I paid
For the digital. For the digital.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got the digital.
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then
What does it mean by digital? The whole system?
it's
is
all on,
you
you don't
down-
buy the physical games.
you
You,
download the
downloaded
games.
everything.
everything. I
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So just stores on the hard drive.
Yeah.
Okay. Non-gamer here. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
me-
asking.
I didn't know
Sorry,
that.
guys.
I had no clue.
Yeah, sorry,
I
audience.
had no clue until 3 weeks ago myself.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Okay.
But so I post this thing and I'm like, who can get a PS5? I'll owe you a favor. And I don't know. The comments were like, good luck. You'll never get one.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. You know, friends of mine that know me, goading me, just poking at my ego.
And that challenged you, like, yeah, I gotta get this.
It sparked a little bit of
Yeah,
fire.
yeah.
But at the same time, it was like, I don't have anything to prove to these guys.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So I made my comments back like, LOL, ha ha
Yeah,
ha.
yeah.
Yeah, I hope I can get it. That's humility. The old Neil would have been like, you don't think I'm going to get it? I guarantee you I get it.
Right.
And then I would have posted the next day the picture of me saying, and I would have tagged them saying,
Yeah.
got my PS5.
Yeah. Exactly.
I purposely didn't post that I got the PS5.
Right.
I didn't really tell anyone.
Interesting.
With the exception of maybe 2 or 3 close friends
Yeah,
who
yeah.
DM'd me or whatever. And
yeah,
I said,
yeah.
I actually got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Xavier, I messaged him saying,
yeah.
hey, bro, I actually got it.
Yeah.
I didn't go on this sort of like braggadocious,
So you,
like,
so you
Right.
kind of you got it for more pure intention. You got it to get it for your son to see if you could, but then you didn't have to gloat
Because I would be
because that's
feeding
ego.
into my
Ego
ego,
would have been
right?
interesting.
or like going into a room.
So you don't relate to Michael Jordan. No, I'm joking.
No. In many ways. but
Yeah.
I don't
No,
think any of us do really.
You
But
know,
yeah.
because it's
Him and Kobe,
a
yeah,
very
egos.
well known story. Ego is what driven them to greatness, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, and that's
know.
the thing too, right? Is with a guy like a Kobe or a Jordan who ego drove him to greatness, they also had a discipline and a work ethic that 0.001% of the world has.
That's
yes,
Like their next
absolutely.
level.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they had athletic ability that 0.00001%
That's right.
have.
Yeah.
That's right.
Shout out to all those Scarborough guys who have the ego but don't have the discipline and don't have
You
the
know them,
athletic
Mike.
ability,
Mike,
but
you
they
know-
still got the ego.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
shout out all you guys know each other.
Yeah.
They do, because they're still playing at the Y.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's closed. It's closed.
Well, they were
Yeah.
outside the Y. So like, yeah, I mean, the book really made me more cognizant of the little things I did every day that was really like about ego. It's like,
Yeah.
why do I need to sit there and brag about all my successes? The book puts it, if you're willing to accept what the book says and be honest with yourself, it just says, it's like, okay, great, you've had some successes, but so what? Did you do this to get acknowledgement, or did you do it because you're doing it for a more pure purpose? So I'm 43 now, and I think when we get to our sort of, there's that mid-age, middle life crisis, or whatever
Yes.
it's called. I'm not there by any means, but I found that I've reflected more in the last couple of years,
Mm-hmm.
probably because I'm in my early 40s,
Yeah.
and there's always that thing. It's like, where do you think you'd be at the age of 40? It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So I've been doing a lot of reflecting, and I'm like, when I used to have a ton of success and do some great stuff, I didn't do it for ego back then. When I was in my early, I was running the largest party in North America every week on Fridays
Mm-hmm.
for over 3,000 people at 22,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
right? And then I did a Saturday night for 3,000 people at 23.
Right.
Then I was touring artists at 24 across Canada. So I had successes early on, but the thing, I look back, I didn't do it for ego. I didn't do it for acknowledgement. I did it because I loved it.
Yeah.
Jenny was like, get up at 8 o'clock. Like, people didn't realize, like, not to bore you guys, but doing 3,000 people every week is not easy. It wasn't like I just sat there and there was no email back then. right? There was really no text messaging. It was in its infancy at the time.
Yes.
But dude, I used to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and go to U of T Scarborough and Centennial and start flyering and handing out flyers and passes at 7, 8:30 and 8 in the morning for the 8:30 classes.
Yes.
Then I would go to like York University, hit all the cars, and then at 11:30 to 1:30,
Flyering.
we'd
The
go to
art
this-
of flyering.
We would go to the student centers,
Yeah.
right? And just talk to people.
Yeah.
I'd go to the malls after school and go to all the managers of all the retail stores. Then at night, I would go in my house and I would like do mailing lists. Like we had a mailing list, like we would physically mail people passes.
Yeah.
And we would have like a sheet where we'd know whose birthdays were coming up. So we would send them, free passes. Like, but I didn't do it because I was looking to be the man or I was looking for acknowledgement. I was just doing it because I liked that. I was consumed with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And now I look back and I'm almost like, some of the things I'm doing, it's almost like part of my agenda. Not to say it is, but it's almost like, is this big enough?
Okay.
Is this going to get enough attention? Well, who gives a shit?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
You're
It's not about that.
measuring it by that. Yeah.
So one of the successful events that I'm involved in, which you guys know well, is the Autism Job Fair.
Yes.
That was pure. That brought me back to my pure, genuine, like, let's just do something for a good purpose.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know how big it was. I didn't know how big the community was.
Yeah.
I didn't know the attention it would receive. I just said, let's come up with this idea and let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably the biggest project I do every year now at
Right.
this point. But it started selflessly,
Yes.
right? So it's just this ego, the enemy thing is just kind of like humbles you, helps you see kind of how we are starting to like do why we do certain things. And like, do you really need to brag that you got a PS5? I mean, does it
Right.
make you any cooler? Does it make you any better?
Right.
It might help you for the hour when everyone says you're the man, but like at the end of the day, in the long run, does that really help you?
It's interesting because if you feed the ego, there's
That's
another
what it is.
there's
It's
another
feeding
side
the
to it.
ego.
And if you
Yeah.
feed it,
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm just feeding an appetite that needs to constantly be fed,
Yes.
yeah,
right? So when I got the PS5, it wasn't about posting it. It wasn't about going and responding, saying, I got it. Like I said, I responded to 3 friends going, as a joke, like, oh, little faith in me, eh, buddy?
Yeah,
Ha, ha.
yeah.
But that was private
Yeah,
conversations to me and
exactly.
Constantine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that book, Ego is the Enemy, really helped me understand that. And it really kind of humbled me. It was like, for all the successes I've had, if I really want to compare myself to everybody else in the world, it's like, yeah, you threw some cool parties and did some concerts.
yeah.
But did you change the world? Did your impact get felt in the world in larger
Yeah.
ways? Not to say that's why we all do things, but it's just like, okay, get over yourself. You did some good stuff.
Yeah.
Great. Good for you. Keep on with your life's journey and that. So the book really, really just, man, like I couldn't wait to get to the book every day. Like I brushed through that book in a month.
Yeah.
What I can say about you is over the years, I mean, ever since obviously we had you on the last time, we've actually really grown a friendship. I know more of you, obviously, what you do. But one thing that I always kind of like at the very beginning, I would say is, this guy's too nice. Like, I mean, he's doing all these things to help people out, autism. He's doing these thing for the homeless, the food bank, and you're always connecting people. Like, I mean, like, and to me, I'm thinking, like, is there like a cover up here or something? Like,
Yeah.
why
With
is this guy-
no strings attached.
no strings attached. Because to
Yeah.
me, I'll be honest, hear me out here. So I would be classified from a religious title as a Christian. Okay, in Christianity, it's supposed to be helping others. It's supposed to be kind of like literally in its essence, like walking in the footsteps of Jesus. Okay, and the stuff that I see you do, and the stuff that you would expect
Am
a
I
Christian
walking in
to
his
do.
footsteps?
No, I'm saying, listen, stuff that you would expect a Christian to do are so far apart right now. Like, I'm not kind of casting
what
a
you
web
mean.
everybody,
I know what you mean.
but I mean, if you look at what's happening in the U.S. and all these other things, and to me, what I can generally say about you, man, is that you have, like, honestly, an amazing heart, and and you're someone that I would consider an influencer. I see you just can generally throw some posts or activity on social media, and you get a lot of people that kind of connect, like, are coming in and getting part of the conversation. Where for myself, I mean, I'm not trying to compare myself to you, but you just don't get that. I'm actually interested in what you have to say. You know what I mean? And to me, that's why I would consider you as someone like to be of like an influencer. So you have, whether you know it or not, Neil, you have the ability to truly kind of almost make a change in someone based on what you say. And to me, that's powerful, man. You know what I mean? And to me, like, I have to commend you for that, because honestly, like I said, one of the most I guess significance that I appreciate about you is just your thinking and your heart. You know what I mean? And they say this. Show me your 5 closest friends or your 5, friends, and I'll tell you who you are. And at the end of the day, like I'm like, I'm thankful I'm associated with you.
Yeah.
Because to me, like you are a reflection of a lot of what my morals or my beliefs are and what you and how you do things. So I just wanted to let you know that, man, because to me, a lot of people probably have the same thing about you as well.
Well, first of all, thank you for all those kind words. Secondly, something like that could be feeding the ego, right?
Yeah,
If
he's,
I
test-
allow it-
he's
if
testing
I-
you
if I
right
allow
now.
it.
It was all a test, ladies and gentlemen. It was
Those
all
are all the tests just to see.
If I allow it,
Yes.
where I'm not saying it would or wouldn't have, but that might have added to the
Yeah.
ego path.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And it's funny that you said the whole influencer thing, but you're right. When I post on Facebook, I'm actually on a thing I posted a couple days ago, and it's got 300 replies and over 40 shares already.
Right.
So I was talking to a friend of mine who's high up in the marketing agency world,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes, "Holy crap!" He goes, some of your posts get more traction than like influencers, like official
Yeah. Yeah.
influencers."
Yeah.
He's like, "You're what's called a disruptor."
Mm-hmm.
He goes, "You're not a guy that we would go and source out to be an influencer, because that's not how you're not doing branded product shots.
Okay.
You're not pushing yourself. I'm not posting content every day.
Right.
It's not who I am."
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
He's like, "But you he's like, dude, your post sometimes get like, I had a post a couple months ago that had like 100 shares."
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And he's like, it's interesting.
Yes.
Right? And look, I know that I've been fortunate in the different businesses that I've done,
Yeah.
that I've been able to come across a lot of people and sort of garner just a lot of sort of interactions with people in person or online.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I came from nothing.
Yeah.
Came from a broken home in Scarborough in the 80s. And I never really, I always tried not to lose sight of that. And I don't know what it is, because I'll tell you, even at the peak of like my success, when I was in my mid-20s getting flown to LA to go to the Grammys, celebrities
Yeah.
on speed dial, like not even Justin Bieber calling me, just saying, "Hey man, what's up?" Like real talk, like
Yeah.
that shit happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
But I always, this is real. Like I take things in. I might not say it, but if I'm on vacation, if I'm driving downtown, I'm always just consuming things. Very early on, when I was 20, I worked for 2 people that are extremely influential. They've made the Toronto top 50 influential list.
Okay.
Massive networks.
Yeah.
Very well known. And they were miserable.
Mm-hmm.
They were unhappy, and they were angry, and they were jerks, and they were shrewd, and
Yeah.
like there was never enough. And I took that in, and I was like, man, they didn't have friends. They didn't have employees they could trust.
Mm-hmm.
They just were very, they were very lonely
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
some ways, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they were married or whatever,
Yeah.
but it's like you could see through it, right? So I took that as soon as 21, 22, as soon as I was getting these successes, and I was always in the back of my mind going, I don't want to be like that. Like, I
Right.
don't want to lose sight of like who I am,
Yes.
or just keep my foot on the ground. So I could have, like, easily, no doubt in my mind, moved to LA in 20 years ago now,
Yeah.
and already been the man out there, because I already had a good reputation in LA.
Right.
I used to go to LA back in like 2002, 2003, 2005, all the time, and people like, "Oh, I heard Toronto's a great city," but they didn't really know it.
Right.
But I was the Toronto guy. I was the
Yeah.
Toronto guy, right?
Yeah.
Connect, and then I could have done all that and probably made a really great life for myself, and probably worked with some people and opened restaurants and clubs. I don't know. Who knows the level of where it could have gone? But if I was more ambitious, I definitely could have. I had opportunities. I had the relationships, right?
Yeah.
But one thing that I always did is I always had a couple sets of friends that were like, I don't want to say not successful, because that's disrespectful to them.
Real ones.
Just guys still finding their way in life.
Right.
Guys jumping from job to job.
Right.
Guys sleeping on other friends' couches and just getting drunk on weekends, but enjoying life in
Yeah.
their 20s, like we're
Yeah.
supposed to.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I'm the guy every week, like running clubs, very business. Can't go to the cottage with them because I'm focused. Can't do this. But I still had these friendships.
Yeah.
And it kept me grounded to some extent. right? Like it kept me sort of one foot on the
Absolutely.
ground
Yeah.
when my day job had me in the sky. And I've just sort of carried that on, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's from my upbringing with my mom or if it's just something I was born with. But like even back then, I would do things like I would just donate $20 to this charity, or I would
Yeah.
adopt a kid, or
Okay.
but it was all financial transactions. I didn't have the time. It was just like,
Yeah.
here's $20 here. Let me donate to World Vision.
Right.
Let me buy a
Well,
turkey dinner
It
for
sounds
someone.
that no matter what your experiences were, you didn't get caught up. You didn't get caught up in it.
I got caught up in it. I did. I feel I did.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't allow myself to get too caught up in it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I
Okay.
mean,
There
taken
was
away.
a struggle. There was
okay.
a struggle, right?
Yeah, but it sounds. But I mean, you're like. I mean, if you're gonna like, give a $20 bill or do these things, you're trying to make sure your feet still stay on the ground.
Yeah.
And when you start to those circles with the bright lights and the influence and just the way the polarizing effect of being around celebrities, and it's easy to fall into it. Okay, but if your feet are on the ground, it's amazing that your takeaway from it was there's a hollowness there. There's
Mhm.
something there that I see beyond the veil. I see like everyone just buys into it because they just want to get the photo or say that
Yeah.
I was in this party with them. But you're just like, no, man, like, you see the good, the bad, and the ugly of it.
I did. And that's going back to what I said earlier, is like, I take everything in.
Yes.
I see how unhappy celebrities are because I work with the top celebrities. I've worked with them, like
Yeah.
the top, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen how sad they were behind the scenes. I've seen how
Yeah.
depressed they were. I've seen how angry they got. I saw the pressures on them. And then I experienced it being in the positions that I was at. And I was like, man, this is not a fulfilling life. Like, I'm not happy. I'm making money. I got everything that you would want, but I'm not happy,
Yeah.
And I was like, I just kind of would reflect a lot and take everything in. And the one thing that I've always been, as it's going to sound really funny, but I just don't like seeing vulnerable people suffer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And I've always had empathy for people, or sympathy or empathy with one
Yeah.
of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember this vividly. I was about 5 or 6 years old. My mom was a school teacher at the time. And I had this is like the crazy story. I was born in 1977. So I remember at a very young age watching this movie. And it was a black gentleman getting whipped,
Mhm.
slave.
Yeah.
And it stuck with me. Didn't remember anything about it, but the scene stood to me, and I started to feel really bad
Yeah.
for people of color.
Yeah.
This is in the early 80s.
Yeah.
And I remember when my mom would take me to school, like I had a PA day and she didn't, so I'd have to go
Yeah.
to school with her for the day or whatever. Right? And I found myself drawn to the students of color at the
Okay.
time
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
because of that scene in that movie. That
Right.
movie is actually Roots.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
And it was the scene where he was getting
Okay.
Yeah, it's an
Right.
intense movie.
and I mean, like, I've just always felt bad for, I don't
Yeah.
want to say bad, just had empathy for people
That's
and being
right.
cognizant of things. Am I a saint? No. Was I that jerk in high school who made fun of some of the special needs students? Yes. I'm not proud of that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't pick on them,
Yeah.
but I was definitely, if there was an angle there to kind of poke at them,
Yeah.
I was one of the guys doing that stupid stuff.
Right.
One of the jocks doing that stuff. But it wasn't like I would ever. I was also the guy to help stick up for people and all that.
Yeah.
It's just something about, I've always sort of had that sort of thing. So now that I'm older and I guess wiser and sort of, I've left the entertainment industry, although I'm still I've got sort of connections there. I just felt like, I'm in a good place in my life to want to do more and give back more and sort of,
Yeah.
just help more. And look, you're right. I try to help people where I can. Sometimes it becomes a pain in the neck because now I'm like being asked to help so many people and you're like, dude, I can't. Like I have a
Yeah.
friend who wants to start a business. He's literally, stupid me. He's like, I know this guy. Can
Yeah.
connect you with him.
Yeah.
Now he's breaking my balls to get connected with all these guys. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, now I got to do 6 intros.
Right.
But at the same time, he's not ready yet for me to connect them.
Okay, I see.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But he still feels like he needs to get those connections. And
Right.
I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, dude, I'll do the connections when the time's right. No, let's do it now. So now
Right.
it's like, I got that guy bugging
Yeah.
me, right? But
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I do feel good that
Yeah.
I know I did something.
Yeah, and it's good to be
Selfless
honest
to
with
help
him.
others.
And it's good to be honest too in those dynamics, right? I mean, you have a heart that wants to help, right?
Yes.
Part of it too, but you're not really helping someone if you put them if it's premature. If you have an idea of the timing and you just know that they're not going to do well. So
I
Well-
also, sorry to cut you off, Mike, but like I also look at like my mom and like, so I'm half Indian, like my mom's family's from India. And like my uncle was the highest ranking visible minority police officer at one time back in the 80s in Canada.
Okay.
And worked his way up to the top pretty much and had the opportunity to run for chief of police. Didn't want the job.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. And I had an uncle who retired at the age of like 45 or 50. He worked his way up as an immigrant to the vice president of a large insurance company,
Yeah.
made some sound investments, drives the same car for the last 20 years,
Yeah.
lives in a
I
slo-
love
lives,
those guys.
lives in a very humble apartment. My uncle was the architectural engineer for Shoppers Drug Mart in Winners,
Wow.
drives a Ford Focus and like same car for 15 years. And he loves photography, and he's the culture that my family comes from, which is from Goa, India.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're,
By the way, Goa, India, I've never been to it, but in Goa, they're more light skinned, right?
well, yeah, because they were Portuguese
Okay.
sort of descendants.
The reason why I say that is because a lot of people, you know, how I always trying to guess my nationality.
Sure, sure.
And if I'm playing the cards right, if, you know, I'm at an Indian restaurant, where you from? Goa, you know what I mean?
They think you are, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Well, there's different
Yeah.
skin. Like my mom,
Yeah.
it's funny because my grandfather was dark, my grandmother was light.
Okay.
And my mom has, between her and her siblings, there's 6 of them.
Okay.
And there's a few that are darker than
Okay,
others,
okay,
right?
yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of fair complexion Goans
Okay.
because they were colonized by the Portuguese at one point.
Okay.
But anyways, like,
So were you saying it with Goa, the Goa reference you get?
the community at large, they're just sort of like, they are quite successful. There's a lot of successful Goans in the world.
Yeah.
Are they entrepreneurial?
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily entrepreneurial, but they just have this value on like education and hard work,
Yeah.
but also being very humble.
Okay.
Right?
Mhm.
My cousin, his parents, like his dad was the president of Singer Sewing Machines, and very successful. Lives in the same house for 40 years. Drives the same cars for the last 20 plus years. Like, it's not about money. It's about enjoying life.
Yeah.
It's about being able to just do things and just being a good person.
It's cool.
Giving back,
Yeah, man.
that kind of thing. So I also looked inside and some of the influences around me, and I was like, I want to be like them. I want to be that quiet guy who's
Yeah.
just like, people are like, yeah, that guy's a good guy. He's successful.
Right.
He's intelligent. He's a nice person,
Yes.
and he's not flashy, and, he's not trying to be out there. I probably have that opinion now because I've seen that world. I was in that world,
Right.
and it takes a lot of energy
Okay.
to maintain that.
Mm-hmm.
It takes so much energy thinking back. That's one of the reasons why I got out of it. I was like, I got to keep up with the Joneses here.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just too tiring.
Okay.
And then it's taking away from my family. It's taking my focus away from the things that are important. So I was lucky that I was, again, taking everything in, consuming it. I was like, this is toxic, this entertainment stuff.
Well, look, it is still. I mean, as much as it seems rare, you can still influence, and you can do it in the shadows. You can do it in different ways. It doesn't have to be posting every single day and having a camera following you everywhere. Like, that's one way. I mean, I came across a quote from Denzel Washington, and he said that for him, privacy is everything.
Yeah.
It was all about privacy, but you can still have great impact. No one knows your conversation you had with that person, and I always think about it. You can't measure it. You really don't know how to measure it. It might seem like you're an influencer, but that one waitress, you might just say something really nice to them
Yeah.
while you're having that meal, and it changes
well,
it changes their life.
There was a couple quotes. First of all, Denzel's got a few good quotes. That's why I
Yeah.
was curious. I was like, which quote?
Yeah, he's got a couple.
good
He
ones.
got some
He's very wise.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, like using the server reference at a restaurant. People say you can sort of judge people the way they treat others and the way they treat the servers, staff at restaurants and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? I agree.
Muhammad Ali has an amazing quote about that. He said that he would get an idea how people were if they would smile to the servers, because he said everyone smiled at him. He was
Sure.
Muhammad Ali, so
Right.
he'd get people beaming, doesn't matter their influence, or they would just they would open up their life to him, and then they would be mean or
Yeah,
close that shining light.
Dude.
They would close it to the server. Yeah, I want sparkling water, and then they and he said he did any of those people. He would not keep around him. He would not trust them.
So it's so funny you say that because I've been more cognizant over the last year or two. But I read a quote a long time ago that was like, when people ask what you do for a living, they're deciding how to
treat you.
treat you.
Wow,
Interesting, man. Very interesting.
Yeah, I
And
can
I've
see
noticed
that.
it. I've noticed it.
Yeah, it's a way to measure.
right?
So what do you do for a living?
And I also noticed that when I started telling people what I do now, it doesn't come with the same like wow.
Yeah, there's
What do you say, Neil, when
I
someone
just,
tells
I
you?
just say like I have a couple businesses, but my primary business is a marketing agency.
Right, opposed to what? When you, what would be the difference before?
Well, back in the days, I'm a concert producer and I work with like a lot of
artists and stuff
artists.
like that.
And then who do you work with?
yeah, exactly.
And then but that plays I work with Justin Bieber.
Yeah,
I work
yeah,
with
yeah,
Drake,
yeah.
now you're on a wave and you're
And
riding
now
your
all of a
own
sudden I'm
wave.
bragging. And then
Yeah.
then there was a time where I left that industry, but I felt like I still needed that validation where I told people I own a marketing agency. And then they'd be like, oh, that's cool. But I used to be in the music industry and I used to work with.
right.
Now I needed them to sort of do that. Now, no word of a lie, it happened a couple months ago over COVID. One of my neighbors. So neighbors are kind of nosy, right?
Yeah.
And not really. My house stands out on the street.
Okay.
Okay, for a few reasons, but it's irrelevant why, but it just does.
Yeah.
Those Christmas lights, you know.
The Christmas lights for sure. I take pride in that because my neighbors say you have the best lights on the street.
Yeah.
But I literally
Those year-long palm trees, all those little
Yeah, the
things.
palm trees.
Yeah, the
No,
two
but you know
two
what?
tigers in the yard.
That's a very Indian thing, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Very stereotypical of you.
Well, he is going.
With the elephants too.
He is
right?
going.
Yeah.
Uh,
exactly. Yeah.
But like, yeah, no, look, man, when I bought my house in the new area we live in, I got the upgraded brick and I have the two nicer cars and
Mhm.
my
Yeah.
backyard's kind of, I spent a lot of money
yeah,
on
it's
my
kicked
backyard at
up.
the time. So those things, neighbors are looking,
Yeah,
what's going on
exactly.
over here, you know?
Mhm.
And my interlocking in the front is a different pattern than everyone else's because everyone else used the same guy.
Yeah.
I use a different guy.
Right.
Oh.
Not because I didn't like that guy, but
Yeah.
I didn't like that style.
Yeah.
It wasn't to stand out. I honestly didn't.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
house thing wasn't really about
Yeah.
trying to stand out. It
Yeah,
just
exactly.
my
Yeah.
but I'm also the
It's
youngest
hilarious.
guy. I'm also the youngest guy in my street, so
Right.
my style is more modern.
See,
Yeah.
kids out there, the game doesn't change. You know, everyone comparing their kicks, comparing the brands of their
Comparing your-
T-shirts, their caps, everything. Even interlocking stones,
Everything, bro.
people might
So
come.
I
Isn't that hilarious?
so I used to get off like my neighbors would walk by because it's a very like. Look, we've got so many different cultures and groups in our street. It's not like it used to be. We don't really all talk. We don't really communicate. We're not
Right.
walking across the street
Right.
and hanging out.
I'm gonna use that in a movie one day to open up a neighborhood where people just stop at the interlocking stones
Dude,
of one,
Dude, they did. I
Yeah,
would be
one-
outside.
and that commentary of like what's wrong with what we've done?
I know. Eh?
It happened all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm big into my garden. So, I'm gardening every weekend. 2-3 hours every weekend is my thing.
Man,
So
I
like
love
that
it.
for a while.
Yeah, amazing.
Grass, all that stuff. So, people go for walks, whatever. And they'd always stop. And I could tell they want to talk to me.
Mhm.
And I'm not
Like approachable.
approachable. I'm not saying I'm not approachable.
Yeah.
I'm not like, hey neighbor, how you doing?
Yeah,
Come on
exactly,
over. I'm just kind of like,
exactly.
hi, and then
Yeah,
I'll go back to doing
that's
my
right.
thing.
Yeah,
right.
you'd
Like
point to your noise canceling headphones and
leave-
be like,
Always
"Look,
have my
man,
headphones
okay."
on listening to
Yeah,
podcasts
see.
or music, right?
Yeah.
But I'm in there in my garden doing my thing, right? Getting into my little zone. But then, every so often someone will be like, oh, hi. And I know they want to talk to me. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, so my garage is done. Like I've got, I
You did the floors, everything.
the
yeah.
floors
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the
In the
storage.
garage?
Well, no, not like the mats for the car to go over.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sweet.
And then I've got like, the storage bins that's very neatly organized.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
bought some I'm really into home decor. So I've always been, but like I have these metal sheets on the bottom. It's just painted. It's a finished garage.
Sweet. I'm not a
Yeah.
homeowner, so I've always thought that the garage is an unused space.
It
It's
is.
untapped.
It
If
is.
you
And
could,
I actually
you
park
could
my-
make it amazing. You
Dude,
could.
I actually have a thing where I put my storage, my recycling bins mounted on the wall,
yeah,
right.
off the floor. all
off the
that.
floor.
Yeah, amazing.
And I can, both my cars are in the garage because it's cleaned up enough where the cars fit in the garage, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So it just, most people don't do that, right? So of course, had one neighbor come over asking what I do for a living, want to know if I was an engineer, but because I look very organized.
Yeah.
I've had about half a dozen neighbors ask what I do.
Yeah.
Right. Like, oh, what do you do?
Yeah.
And different
That's
comments.
almost like a rude question if you think.
It actually-
because it's
it is.
linked. You know what I mean?
So
to
now-
yeah.
6 months ago,
Yeah.
one of the few neighbors that hasn't yet come over and asked what I do came over.
Mm-hmm.
And he used to come over quite often and ask about what plant I have or what garden I have. And he would make these little comments like, I really like your interlocking. I really like those flowers.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, I
Everything
really
about this is very humorous.
Yeah.
It is. It really is. And I'd
Yeah.
be like, oh, thank you. But I
Yeah.
wouldn't leave it for room for conversation because
Yeah.
I could tell where he was trying to go with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, finally, like about 6 months ago, he had, you know, he came over. I have a question to ask you. This is like April, May.
Mm-hmm.
So he's asked me some questions about the garden because he's gotten into his garden. And he just stops for like 5 seconds in this awkward silence. And he goes, "Oh, what do you do?"
Yeah.
Like we were talking about the flowers and it went
Yeah.
right to like,
Yeah.
what do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'm going to mess with this guy.
Yeah, he's been waiting to
He's
say
been
that.
waiting for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when John wanted to ask Sally to go to the grade 7 dance. He's
Yeah.
just been waiting and waiting, right?
And so I was like, oh, I do a bunch of things.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I go, yeah. So now he had this look of like,
Yeah, because it went nowhere.
went nowhere.
You gave
And I
him
did it on
nothing.
I gave it on
Yeah,
purpose.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he goes, oh, I work at Enbridge, he says. He, that,
No. He's
which
trying
is
to
right
bait.
across
He's trying to
the
bait
street
you right now. Bait
It's
you.
a guy I work at Enbridge. I go, oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Oh, so your company name's going to change every decade, right?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I'm an engineer, or something like that, right? At
Yeah.
Enbridge, and I do this. I'm like, oh, that's really nice.
Yeah.
And the way he was saying it was like he was trying to explain to me what he did, so I could explain to him what I did.
Right.
Yeah, he's inviting you now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't take the bait. I just
Yeah.
left it. I let him. I
Yeah.
left him in suspense.
Come
Yeah.
on, he wanted you to tap dance for him.
Yeah.
You know, like the thing is, the neighbors come to my house because it stands out. I have two nicer cars.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of like, okay, this guy appears to be.
Okay, so now it's
appears,
official.
Appears to be successful.
Yes.
Yeah.
But how do they know? Like, honestly, I
Yeah.
can guarantee you this. Exterior wise, you would drive down my street and go, that guy's the most successful guy.
Right.
I guarantee you their bank accounts are a lot bigger than mine.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
My neighbor to my left, okay, to put it in perspective, one of them is a general practitioner and her husband is an engineer for General Electric.
Okay.
Without overthinking, their combined household income is probably very comfortable.
Yes.
They drive a Honda and a Ford SUV.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And they're very, very awesome people. We get along so well.
Yeah.
Very humble. And I'm like, yeah, I go, you know what? My money might show on the exterior, but I can bet you. And they're 5 years younger than me on
Right.
top of all this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I guarantee you though that they've probably are a lot better with their money and more financially sort of sound in terms of investments. Like, not that I don't have, but I wasn't. That's definitely
Well, that's the difference between rich and wealthy, right? They say wealthy is how long can you go without working? Like,
Yeah.
do you really, really have, riches over the long haul?
Oh, that
right?
dude.
Yeah.
Another benefit of COVID was it really hit me to realize like, shit, how long can I afford to not make money and live like this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should, based on the money I've made and the way I've kind of generated income over the years, I should be able to actually, if I really wanted to, never work again,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mhm.
But having to travel and spend $10,000 in a weekend in Vegas,
Right.
having to have nice cars for the last 20 years, being the first guy, one of the first guys to drive a Range Rover in 2004.
Right.
Like all these things that when I look back, I've actually done this reflection. I'm like, I could have, no joke, my mortgage would have been paid off.
Mm-hmm.
And if I even took 10% of the money that I wasted and invested it in stocks early on or other investments, I
Yeah.
would have had a couple millions.
Right.
Millions.
Mm-hmm.
But instead I was too busy fixated on, I got to have a nice car. I got to have nice clothes. I
Mhm.
got to have this. Right.
See-
So it's all perspective.
I'd
But
say your neighbor guaranteed walked into his own kitchen, looked to his spouse and said, he's in organized crime. Or something like that. You know what I
Maybe.
mean? I'm watching Godfather 2 right now.
you know
that's why.
what? They actually,
Are
I
you
had a,
serious?
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
a,
You've
I
never
had-
seen that before?
No,
Oh.
I watch it like every month.
I had a
Okay.
party in my backyard like last summer.
Yeah.
I invited them over.
Yeah.
And as soon as they came over, they just started looking at my backyard like,
Because when you have a nondescript answer like that, when it's like, what do you do?
well, this was the other neighbor.
From
This
an
was-
Enbridge. But
Okay, yeah.
but your answer, this is the other side to giving that type of answer. You're like, I do a bunch of things.
But one of the
Right?
things that I have done recently is I have been sort of trying to like just be more cordial with people in terms of like, I don't know, just sort of like making conversation now, but like real conversation,
Mm-hmm.
not what do you do. I actually don't ask people anymore what they do
Mm-hmm.
You know, not
Mhm.
only
because then I feel like, because
I heard a guy. I heard
I
I heard a guy say once. He's a pretty deep guy, and he said that he doesn't ask people what they do. He asks, "What do you like to do?" That's how he's.
No,
so,
you want to get to know them.
yeah, he's like, "Hey,
Yeah.
what do you like to do?" And they literally will always kind of be, because it is kind of a curveball. You're not used to that. And then he says, because then you get to the real core, who they are. And he said he was explaining the essence of small talk is to be genuinely interested in the other person, If you're generally interested in the other person, small talk isn't an opportunity just to talk the weather or just tell people about, hey, I
Yeah.
got my new car.
I
you
mean,
know?
look, some people are just ambitious and all they want is to know what everyone does so they can see how they can make money, and that's to each his
But
own,
that's
right?
so shallow, man.
But that's shallow.
Yeah.
And but to each his own, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if that's what you want out of life, then that's
Sure.
I'm not going to tell you that's right or wrong.
yeah.
You can decide at the end of your journey if that you were fulfilled and if you died a happy life. To each his own. I'm not going to fault someone for wanting to be ambitious and want to know what people do and figure out ways to work with people and make money. That's if that's your
but,
goal.
But
Yeah.
look, but shallow, right? I
yeah.
mean, shallow water is shallow water. You don't really learn a lot in it, you know,
No.
Yeah.
Look, let me say this.
as an ocean expert.
No, well, actually, I'm going to bring something to the ocean right now.
Yeah,
okay?
bro.
Yeah. So, one of the things that people don't know about me is I'm cheap. Okay. And
Hold
for
on.
me-
Yeah, okay, hold on.
I
hold
didn't know
on.
that.
Yeah.
I actually
Yeah.
would have. I actually think
For the
Yeah.
editor, can we
Yeah.
Peter, can you put an echo? Can you put a little echo and some reverb on
So,
that?
so for me, I'm always looking for the deal. The other day, I was looking at purchasing something, and my wife goes, it's kind of expensive. I go, let me see if they can knock off like 20-25% off. She goes, they're not going to do that. I go, there's no harm in asking.
Yeah.
And I asked, and they did it. They
Yeah.
gave me 25% off. Okay. And I kind of threw in like a little story about what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to like manipulate the story, but something
more
happened the other
context.
day. So in my basement, I have an aquarium. I used to have an aquarium business.
Yep.
So I'm like the godfather of aquariums.
you are. Oh
Okay,
yes.
yeah. So I know where to get value on certain things. In fact, Nick, who's doing an incredible job of training
Oh,
my
yeah.
dog right now, he's looking for an aquarium. He actually saw my aquarium in my basement, and he's like, oh my god. So I'm kind of helping him trying to find the
Great.
best deal.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyways, so I look to do what I did in the basement. I did it through connections. I did it through friends, through favors, but it looks gorgeous. So this guy comes in, a tiler, to kind of do some tiling work, and he sees my basement aquarium, and the minute he sees this, his wife was there as well. They're a team. He goes, "Oh my God, you're rich! What? Come over here, come and see this." And then it made me feel very uncomfortable.
What?
Okay,
Yep,
because
yep,
I
yep.
know I'm not rich.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just said it out loud like
Yeah,
that?
exactly. I was very like I almost got flushed because it was like, what the hell? You know what I mean?
That's weird.
And I just met the guy. Okay, so anyways, the point of it is, when people ask me, what do you do, right? I just like to say I'm in security, man. I mean, because to me, I hate, just so you know about me, I hate titles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me too.
I mean,
Me too.
when people say I'm this,
They lead with
yeah,
that.
you know what I mean? And to your point, back when I was younger, you do want to validate. You know what I mean? I remember going to massage therapy, and they ask questions. They talk to you. What do you do? And you're trying to validate. Oh, I do this. I do that. And at the end of the day, like, who cares what you think?
My dentist did that. So my keychain had both my car brands on the keychain. or whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
And I put it, I empty my pockets to sit on the
Right.
dentist chair. It was
Right.
like a year and a half ago. It was a new
Right.
dentist. Probably in his late 30s, early 40s.
Yeah.
Put my keychain there. He makes it go, oh, nice cars. Well, what do you do for a living? And I was like, here we go. Now
Here's
the
the
dentist
circle.
wants to start talking about what I do.
Right.
It's just one of those.
No, for sure. But to me,
You should just give us like I
did.
trade time for money. I trade time for money like everybody.
Yeah.
It's just something like that. Really,
like
like
that. I
just
like
like and because it just kills it.
I love that money.
Yeah.
You steal that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
Trade time for money.
and then like, so what do you like to do?
Yeah.
Come back with that one.
yeah.
Yeah, it's good, Mike.
And it's
Yeah.
funny because if you say to people,
I'm taking that one.
but Neil, you would be considered also a philanthropist in some of the work that you do, right? Would you-
He doesn't like titles, but he's dropping.
No, I know.
but what I'm saying is,
No,
what I'm saying is, like, if you were to tell that to somebody, right, they'd probably be like, "Oh, that's nice."
Explore that.
Yeah.
Why do you deviate away from the title? Okay, so
Because what is it to me? It's like people are fixated on so much titles, and they connect titles to worth, right?
Mhm.
So, for
Yeah.
example,
Value.
you
Yeah.
may not know that I'm struggling immensely,
Yeah.
and I'm going through some massive depression. All you're seeing is a
Oh,
fish tank.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
you,
yeah.
and that to me is like where people get so fixated on
and you
the
have an
object.
executive title on your business
But now
card.
this is
Yeah.
where ego, the book I read, would be like, well, who cares?
Right.
I don't care what people. I'm doing it for me and selfless reasons.
And that's what it comes
like
down
fish?
to. Yes.
And we all have our guilty
yeah,
pleasures.
yeah.
You want to invest your money in aquariums and fish tanks.
Yes.
You're not doing it
Right.
for others.
It's not a
No,
status thing.
it's for me, right?
Yeah.
And look, Steve Somerville, he posted something on his Instagram wall the other day, and it was a picture of like 8 different celebrities, like Kurt Cobain, Heath Ledger, Marilyn Monroe, and some other ones. and he said depression, and they're all smiling, by the way. They're all smiling and happy and excited, and it says depression has many forms. Okay, and those people all in that thing all died by suicide.
Okay.
And you know, I think if people spent more time trying to find out about the individual than they actually did about it, would just change a lot of perceptions.
But
And I think COVID kind of did that for people as well. It's like we're in a situation right now where it's kind of caused people to sit and reflect. Everyone's saying that I'm reflecting.
Well,
I'm reflecting.
I think
you know?
I think
No, it's so true.
You know?
I think you're right. I mean, but I think it comes down to the individual and where they're at in life,
Right.
right? Like, are they at that point in life to even reflect?
Okay.
Yeah.
If COVID happened 20 years ago, I wouldn't be reflecting.
Okay.
I'd be like,
Yeah.
right? Like, I'm reflecting because I've had 20 something years of experiences. I have
Yeah.
a lot of responsibilities with my family and staff and friends.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, it's tied to like an emotional maturity of sorts.
And that's
right?
this was my whole thing with COVID, going back to the original sort of question about COVID. And I said, you know, while it sort of is not a good thing, you know, a lot of people tried to move it into a positive thing. And that's what I tried to do with myself.
Okay.
I genuinely believe that right now. And I probably wouldn't say this a year ago, but
Yeah.
you know, the books helped me come to, like, financially, it's at the worst point I've ever been.
Right.
Right? Like, I mean, all my businesses, all of them shut down. The gym's been closed.
Right.
The 2 months we were open, 60-70% of students didn't come back.
Right.
Or there was certain rules that some of them had to adhere to, that whatever
Doesn't
it is.
make it worth, yeah.
The money that I've lost, the business I've lost, where I am financially, I haven't taken a salary in 8 months. I'm living off savings.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm a better person for what's happened in the last 8 or 9 months.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Right.
Right? Like, I've taken in more knowledge. I've accepted the fact that my shit stinks.
Yeah.
Right? I've accepted the fact that, you know what, I'm a human and I'm vulnerable, because for many years I wasn't vulnerable. In my 20s and 30s, I was just, every year I was making more money, doing bigger things, starting to do concert tours, traveling. Just I had a good 12, 15 year run where it was just, there was
Right.
not a setback.
Right.
Just not. I was just going and going and going. At some point, the car's going to break down and you need to repair it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So at this age, I'm looking back and I'm like, well, I had a good 23-year run with really minimal, you know, I've had my challenges. I've had my
Yeah.
$100,000 losses, and I've had my challenges to overcome, but I'm still here. But I just said, you know, I'm just going to take the COVID opportunity to improve my situation and circumstance and try and be a better person, you know, and sort of develop personally. And I feel as though, like, by meditating and reading up and humbling myself and just really looking at life in a bit of a different perspective, I'm already, like, happier.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You know, I have less now than I had last year. I traveled 5 times. I went 5 vacations in 2020. And my vacations aren't like, let's go stay at the Holiday Inn and have a free breakfast.
The
in the morning.
Continental.
You know,
Yeah.
like it was
Continental.
like, we're going to the W, let's get a suite or a
Right.
junior suite.
Yeah.
You know, like my son, for his 16th birthday, we went to Chicago because he's infatuated with that. And just because we could, you know, it was a stupid move, but we paid the extra to fly business class because I wanted to give him that experience.
Right.
Which he said on the way back, there's nothing special about this. And I wasn't mad because I
That's
actually
good.
I agreed with
It's
him.
a learning lesson.
Yeah.
But it was
Yeah.
you know, but I was like, it's the 16th, let's have fun. It wasn't a huge upgrade. It was like a couple $100. I was
Yeah.
like, let's do it.
Yeah.
We went to a couple very, very expensive steak restaurants because, as you know, I'm big into steaks.
Kobe.
Yeah, and I went to a restaurant. It was like one of only 3 restaurants in the world to have a couple specific steaks. So I'm like, bill was like $600 US for me and my 16-year-old son, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, Dad, this isn't good,
Wow.
right?
Interesting.
Interesting, but I
Yeah.
mean that's
Yeah.
you know, and sometimes their innocence, like he's
But
not
that's-
caught up in the whole Kobe,
Yeah, man.
Kobe Wagyu
Yeah.
nonsense. It's just like he's like, Dad's keg's better. I wasn't mad at him. I was just like, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I get it. But my point is I traveled 5 times last year and really nice vacations. I haven't traveled this year.
Yeah.
We can't.
No.
But I'm not sad. I'm not at that mindset where it's like, I need to travel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, I'm kind of happy right now just being.
Well, it sounds like, you know, when you're forced off the road like that, you get a tune-up, right? You know, you took the time and play on words. You're in tune. You know, there's a lot of people that they're not in tune with what makes them happy.
Started riding my bike.
Just
a
that
mountain
simple
bike.
thing. Yeah. Like, okay. I mean, but it's, you know, people, that's what people are doing. They're finding these little things, that these little hobbies or stuff that gave them joy. I used to love to paint. you know, stuff like that. I even heard my mom say, I started painting again.
When
Okay.
you know what's funny? I'm doing something this week that you guys will like, not laugh at. You guys will be like, oh wow. I've never done a mood board. I've never really done like where do
Oh.
I want to be in 5 or 10 years. It's just I'm in the moment.
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
guy that's in
Yeah.
the moment, and I've just like my drive and
Yeah.
my hustle and ambition. Just things just kind of go.
Yeah.
But there's never been a 2, 5, or 10 year plan. I should have done that in hindsight because I probably would have at least invested some more money 20 years
Towards
ago.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Towards at least like I want financial independence by the time I'm 50 or whatever it is, and let me
So
just take.
is it a mood board or vision board?
Maybe it's a vision board. Sorry,
Okay.
not a mood board. Mood board is what we do for work.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a
yeah.
vision board.
Okay.
And I have like, there's really one thing I want right now that I don't have
What
from a
is it?
materialistic perspective that
What-
I've wanted for years. And
What is it?
I want a house in California.
Okay.
Mhm.
Not move there, but
Yeah.
for 8 years, my family and I vacationed in California.
Where? Where exactly?
Oh, last trip we spent 3 weeks there. So we started in San Francisco for a week,
Okay.
made our way down into
So
LA.
all through the coast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, every year. That's pretty much like we did 1 year just San Francisco, 1 year just LA. And
Where
then-
would you move if you? If
I
you
already
had
know.
this
Like I
house?
already know the location. I know everything.
Where?
So I've done enough of the whole California.
I asked because there's palm trees behind you,
As you're speaking.
literally as you're speaking. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Very familiar with.
I want to move to Orange County,
Okay.
Yeah.
around sort of in between, sort of like Corona Del Mar, Laguna Beach. I mean, it's very
Laguna
expensive.
Beach is beautiful.
It's very expensive real estate. It's not. This
Yeah.
is not like. This is like some of, if not the most expensive real estate. It's where Kobe Bryant lived. It's where
Okay.
Mike Tyson
Yeah.
lives. It's.
Okay.
We're talking like.
Have you been to Laguna? You heard of Laguna Beach?
I've heard of the TV show.
Yeah.
Oh.
Laguna. Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
fair. It's Orange
yeah.
County.
Yeah.
But I mean, like,
Yeah.
obviously you can get starter homes there for a few $100,000, but that's like, you don't want to live there.
Right.
But I mean, houses go up to 70 million.
Oh wow.
Like you're
Yeah,
overlooking the
yeah.
Pacific Ocean, and there's
Okay.
canyons, and it's beautiful, and
Okay.
there's the wealthiest of the.
The
wealthy.
homes are on the mountain, like
Yeah.
over the ocean, so it kind of looks like Constantine. Kind of looks like Greece or Europe or Italy.
There's
Like
very,
it,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
it has that feel. But
Okay.
yeah,
Oh nice.
yeah.
Just very, very, very posh and
Yeah.
high end. But it's gotten to the point. So my last 2 vacations there, no, not last year, but the other 2, we have a timeshare there, and it's a fairly large timeshare. It's the way it's built. It's perfect for 2 families to kind
Okay.
of split.
Yeah.
So I had one of my best friends and his family come 1 year and spend a week with us there, and the year before that, my cousin and his family came, and it felt like, I got to take you here. We're going to take you there. Like I know the area so
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
I'm excited when I go there.
Right.
Yeah.
Driving with the top down
No, yeah.
with the Pacific
yeah.
Ocean,
Yeah.
Oh
and just
yeah.
so it
and
does
the,
something.
and the doors out on the
doors
Jeep.
out on. I
Oh,
did. That's what I
man.
did last time
Yes.
for my
Oh,
daughter's
man.
2 years ago. For my daughter's birthday, we went there for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Kind of overlapped with her birthday, and she was like, "Dad, I really want you to get a Jeep." We rented a Jeep YJ or whatever it was.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the
the right,
doors,
yeah.
top down,
Oh,
everything. Drove down the coast with everything down, and it's something that we don't get here.
Right.
Yeah.
We have
It-
Lake Ontario.
it's a
We have
lifestyle.
Lakeshore.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle. It truly is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So my vision board that and so just being a lot more content and happy and being more grounded these last 7-8 months and rebuilding and sort of just being more focused and not really being caught up in the weeds and trying to have my ego padded and really trying to like
Yeah.
get validation
Yeah.
is you just start to do things that you want to do for yourself and you enjoy.
Right.
And don't ask me how. I was literally cleaning out over the holidays, some decluttering the house, and I found these old real estate books from last year from California that I bought with all the houses for sale. The for sale houses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I started scrolling it, and I was like, "Oh man, I forgot about this." I go, "You know what? I'm gonna make a little vision board with this." So earlier this week, I spent 20 minutes ripping out all the pictures and cutting out the houses in the styles that I want from
Yeah.
these 3 or 4 books.
Yeah. Yeah.
I went and bought Bristol board yesterday.
Okay. Yeah. That's good.
And then
man.
I'm just gonna have, but like for me, that's what I want because like I'm 43. Not that I'm thinking of retirement, but you know what? I love Orange County. I don't want to
Yeah.
live in West Hollywood. I don't
Yeah.
want to live in Malibu.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in the city. Orange County, where I live, is without traffic, it's about 45 minutes to an hour outside of the city. With traffic, it's about 7 hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's something for me that I want, and that's something I've wanted for 5 years now. And so I'm like, well, you know what? It's fun. It's something fun. So my daughter and I are gonna just make a little vision.
That's good,
She
man.
wants the house too, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna make this little fun vision board, and it's just gonna be examples of all the style of. I know exactly the kind of house I want. I know
Okay.
everything that I want.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like I've got the vision ready of what house I want, and everything I want in the house there is everything we don't get here. I want a
Yeah.
Mediterranean style ranch style looking home
Yeah.
Mhm.
with the exterior it's made out of like clay and other things that we don't get here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I want it overlooking canyons and be close to and oversee the ocean
Yeah.
because we don't have oceans or canyons here.
Right.
I want the living room to actually have a door that opens up into the backyard. So
Okay.
like one of those
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
because we don't
Well,
have that here.
In
You
Cali,
can't
it's
do
not
that.
a door; it's a wall.
It's a wall.
It's actually an
that's what
actual
it's called.
glass wall.
The glass wall.
Yeah.
What do you call
yeah.
it? The
Yeah.
Sliders?
yeah,
S-
basically
essentially,
those
yeah.
walls that
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah.
it's
Pocket
glass.
sliding doors, I guess, right? Or
whatever.
something.
Yeah, but like something like that. So it's like entertainment.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. So yeah, like I just have this vision board, but I wouldn't have been there a year ago. It would just been like I want a house in California. Now it's kind of like let's have fun. Let's make this a fun experience.
But it's also a nice goal to set up to kind of like,
Oh, for sure.
I mean, what you're describing for me is Mexico. I mean, what you're just talking about, I want to do in Mexico.
Yeah,
And I told this to Mike before, but it was a couple of years ago. We were in Cabo San Lucas, and I was just walking down the ocean, and there was all these beautiful like homes that were backed onto the ocean, but it was public to the beachfront. And I see this woman come out. This woman comes out of her backyard onto her beach. Her 3 dogs run out. She has a cup of coffee in her hand. Her dogs
A
are running.
mug. She has a mug of
yeah.
coffee, which is that's a difference maker.
Yeah, the dogs are kicking the sand. She just kind of like smiles into the breeze, sips her coffee, and I saw that like I need
Yeah, man.
this experience in my life, you know.
Bro,
Yeah,
my
man.
timeshare in California,
man.
same thing.
Yeah.
We have a balcony that has a table and chairs. It's it's probably the size of this office,
Yeah.
right? Spacious, and or this room, and same thing. When I go on vacation, I get up, I make a coffee,
Yeah.
I might make breakfast,
Yeah.
I sit outside.
Yeah.
If my cousin or my friends there, we're outside talking.
Yeah.
We might be checking up on some news back home in Toronto.
Right.
The birds are chirping,
Yeah.
the canyon's there, the
Yeah.
ocean's there, and you're just there in zen for 2
I
hours.
know. I know.
You're not stressing, you're not rushing, you're not in traffic.
Yeah.
That sort of landscape and scenery and
Yeah.
vibe you can't get here.
No. No.
But yeah, it was same thing. I relate to what you're saying, and that
Yeah.
sort of was what let me go, man, I really like this.
That's
I remember
good,
driving
man.
to my friend. My friend owns a gym out there in Orange County, and so I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go to the gym. And I just remember like getting up to drive to the gym in the Jeep, top down, ocean, great weather, not humid,
Yeah.
hot but not humid. 'Cause Mike knows LA
Yeah.
weather, and like just getting to the gym. I get to the gym, I'm already feeling great. I'm already feeling elevated without working out. His gym has no roof.
Yeah.
It's got walls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You walk in,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but then you go to the back and it opens up into like this outdoor
Yeah, it's
gym
crazy.
where
Wow.
you're
It blows your
training.
mind. Have
Yeah.
you ever been in a space like that?
No. No. Never.
I did a series in Montreal. The rap party was in LA.
Okay.
I had a chance to go. They had it at a house on the hills, and remember walking in, and gorgeous home. And it's weird when you walk into a house from the door,
You can
and you see through the home, and you can see the ocean,
Yeah.
like through the house. You're
Wow.
just like, oh my goodness, and it's all just sky and blue,
Yeah,
and like.
man.
So we walk in, and I remember you look to the left, and there's a grand piano. It's gorgeous. Look to the right, there's this really nice living room. Walk into the living room, fireplace in the middle, like kind of on the coffee table. Looking around, and the walls, they end, and it's the sky. And I remember, like you're in a living room, and I'm seeing the stars, and like,
Wow.
you know, like it's
It's
a life.
It's
Yeah.
breathtaking.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
I mean, at
man.
the same time, as much as it's a life, you can appreciate it. I wonder if the homeowner appreciates it.
Yeah, you never know. You
Maybe
never
he's
know.
bored. Maybe he's
I mean,
bored,
that's the
yeah.
other thing too.
Yeah.
Is like, and I think we've all seen them, whether it's in person or on TV. These beautiful, lavish LA homes and
Yeah.
canyons and whatnot. And I've been fortunate enough to see them and stay at a few in LA. But you know what I find? I'm really into home decor. I have been since I was a kid.
Yeah.
A lot of these homes don't have a lot. They don't feel warm.
Yeah.
They're very minimalistic in terms of the decor and the furniture, and it's a lot of white
Right.
walls,
Yeah.
right?
They're not lived in.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah. Like they're not like for me. I'm all about colors and like earth tones and feeling like my house. I don't have hardwood floors. I just still have carpet because I like carpet.
Yeah. Yeah.
My daughter and I are like, we don't really want hardwood or tile.
Admitting carpet now is kind of like it's
Yeah.
almost faux pas, as they
Yeah.
say. It's
Right?
like,
And
you,
I'm
have,
like-
you have carpet?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like saying
know
you bought
what?
your dog from a breeder, you know.
Yeah.
but yeah, like I look at a lot of these nice condos, or I'm always seeing condos for
Yeah,
sale, and
yeah.
I'm like, they're all the same. They're white walls, stainless steel appliances,
Right, right.
No,
you know,
no.
very minimal stuff. I like warm colors,
Yeah.
homely,
Yeah.
comfortable. you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I find though the other thing too is those homes, although they're big and lavish and have beautiful backdrops and scenery, it's almost
Like you're in
for
a
their
museum.
ego. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
like it's
yeah.
like, will you appreciate this?
Well, look,
And
it's
most guys I know with those types of houses, sorry to cut you off,
yeah, yeah.
they don't. They're either never there or they don't really appreciate.
No, I
it.
know
Right.
it is.
It's
It's
true,
furniture.
man.
It's just
It's
it's just
true.
a place. I mean, at the end of the day, you just have to be happy. That's all that matters, right? Like Gary Vee, he has a very famous quote where he says, you know, just be happy. Okay, literally, everything that you're doing, he's a high achiever.
That's it, man.
That guy goes a mile a minute, but he implores everyone else, just be happy. Find something. It doesn't
That-
matter. Don't try to please everyone else. If you can be in tune with that, then it doesn't matter if you might have 7 homes on
Right.
7 continents, but if you're happy, it's all good.
That's
You may not have a home. You might have a basement apartment for $700 a month, but you're happy
that's
because
been my sort of
Yeah.
personal mantra the last 6 months is, okay, what is the purpose here? What am I doing?
yeah,
What am I working so hard for? Why am I stressing? What's the purpose?
Right.
I want to. Life's about being happy and
yeah,
helping others.
yeah.
So I'm really trying to go back to that.
And it's
sort
really
of
simple things, man.
Simplicity.
You said you're mountain biking. There's some
Bro, I love it. Love it.
there. That's all you need. That's all you
I'm
need to
mountain
know.
biking. Like I would, if you told me 10 years ago I'd be snowboarding every weekend in the winter pre-COVID, and mountain biking twice a week,
Going to the dog parks almost every day.
going to the dog park every day, I'd
Yeah.
be like, who are
No.
you talking to?
Yeah.
Gardening on weekends.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it and I'm like, dude, it's
Reading an hour a day.
It's so good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
true.
so just, and you know what? You have time to think, reflect. You're not stressing. You're to yourself. You're in your own thoughts. But your thoughts now, because you're not surrounding yourself with so much toxicity and negativity, you're just like in a clearer space,
Yeah.
and you're happier for it, you know? So, and then you start to get back to sort of that innocence and purity of building vision boards
Yeah. Yeah.
and doing
yeah.
fun little things that you otherwise probably wouldn't have time for or would look down on. So,
Yeah.
completely from
There's
COVID,
a-
going back an
Yeah.
hour ago now,
Yeah.
COVID's really just changed a lot of things for me personally, from my outlook on life, and learned to appreciate a lot of things, and learn to realize the other thing too, guys, is like, we don't think ahead 10, 20 years.
No.
We don't
No.
really, we don't really think, we might think like, we might think quickly like, yeah, I'd like to have a house with kids and a wife.
Yeah.
But that's not like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, we didn't really think about where we would be in 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
So I want to learn from that, because listen, I could have got into Bitcoin at $200 a Bitcoin in 2012 or 13. A friend of mine is very
Oh
wealthy.
my God. It's like.
I had friends of mine that started all these cannabis companies and wanted to get me in before they even went public.
Yeah.
You know, I did purchase some real estate back in sort of 2007 and 8 for like a quarter of what the cost is now.
Yeah.
Had I known, I would have bought more properties.
Right.
Mhm.
But I passed those opportunities because I wasn't thinking 10. I was in the moment. I was like, nah, dude, I'm going to Vegas
Yeah.
this weekend, the
Yeah,
party.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Or no, dude, I'm doing this with I got to buy that new Range Rover. So like, screw this investment in some stock called Google.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So now I've really started to, I've been investing more, and
Right.
I've been sort of like trying to build out just 1 or 2 revenue streams. I've reviewed all my life insurance and other sort of benefit policies to see what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. So I've also taken an approach to be like, okay, I'm 43. I need to set myself up that when I'm 63, I can I still want to work. I don't think I want to stop, because
Yeah, I know both of you. You guys will never just be in Mexico, just
Yeah,
in
chilling.
Laguna.
Yeah.
It will be a time. You'll
Yeah.
pass through.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it for 2 hours, maybe 2 weeks. You're
Yeah.
gonna be like, okay.
No, but you know what?
but that's okay. That's fine.
And I still want to work.
You
See,
guys got a motor. You guys have stuff.
But-
You're gonna get stuff done all the time.
But the thing
Yeah.
is, with what COVID's given to us is the ability to sort of work from home now without being looked down on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So now, like, I don't have to be in Toronto anymore to work.
Right.
My staff don't come to the office anymore.
Right.
Probably don't even need the office, to be
Right.
honest with you. Right?
Right.
So like now I can justify going to a house in California for a couple months,
Yeah.
still work,
Yeah.
Right.
still be productive.
Yeah.
Emails, virtual calls, this, that, the other.
You
right?
just measure it by output level. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I agree. Look,
You
I
could
love-
be on a boat. You could work as long as you get your Wi-Fi. You could technically.
but it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
true. Right?
Yeah.
Like, so for me, you're right, Mike. Like, my intention wasn't to go and move there. I love my house. I love where I live. I love Toronto. I would never leave it. But you know what? It would be nice to know that, hey, if I need to get away for a couple weeks, I got a place. Because the other thing is, I'm a control freak. I haven't traveled a lot. I've traveled around North America a ton. But there's that certain thing in my head where I'm close enough to home where it's like,
Mhm.
I know that I'm still in Canada,
Yeah.
or I have OHIP that is
Yeah.
covered in Canada, or I'm in the States, but it's not that foreign to us.
Right.
To where it's a completely different world. I've only traveled to Europe twice, and I was ready to go home after 3 or 4 days.
Really?
Where?
Yeah.
Where?
I went to London, England, which is probably the story about that trip will be in my memoir.
Okay.
It's one of the greatest stories ever, for sure. Top stories
Yeah,
ever.
England's amazing.
But I went to London for like 4 days. I called my mom after the first day. The hotel room was half the size of this room. It was like 500 pounds a night. I thought it was a suite at
Yeah.
a posh hotel. It was to their standard.
Yeah.
The restaurants, it was just a whole culture shock
Yes.
to go to England for the first time.
Right.
Was like, I like being in control. There's part of the reason why I don't drink or consume drugs and never have. It's because I don't like losing that feeling of being in control. I'm a
Right.
bit of a control freak
Right.
in that aspect,
Right.
right? So I haven't really traveled and explored the world. That's something I definitely haven't done. And the further I get from home, I feel like lost. Like I just want to go back. I like comfort.
Really?
I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
comfortable.
You want your carpet?
I want my carpet. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to lay on the carpet.
Yeah.
On my beanbag.
That's good, man. Now, you said $200 Bitcoin back in 2000.
Oh, no.
What is it now?
38,000 US.
$1,000.
Yeah.
38,000 US. I think it was 200 Canadian. It's like 50,000 Canadian. So
Jeez.
yeah,
Oh my goodness, man.
So but I mean, again, I've been starting to sort of just take a little bit more time and go, okay, great. Like you need to start thinking more about the future. And so for me, at the end of the day, here I am, 43. I've attained some sort of minimal assets. Nothing to really
Right.
brag about. I should definitely have more. But it's like you still have another 25 earning years left.
Yeah.
And at the
Yeah.
end of the day, I was just telling this to a friend of mine. I'm like, when we pass away, what is that good for? Right? What are you doing with it?
Right.
You know, there's a guy, which you guys have, I've got to put you on this guy. He's called the Broke Billionaire. Have you heard
Okay.
about this guy?
No.
No.
His goal, he was the guy who invented all the duty free shops.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
He's
okay.
worth $8 billion.
Okay.
His goal is that when he dies penniless. He's achieved that because he donated all his money to charities.
Wow.
So very humble guy. He's like 85. He finally got to the point where he's given out all his money. And he's like, well, what do I need it for though? Like,
Right.
what do I need this
Isn't
for?
that
Yeah.
crazy?
And
Now again, if think about that, if you're happy,
he was
then,
happy.
then you don't need it,
Yeah.
right? And again, money buys happiness. Everyone says, yeah, no, look, you know, there's a great look. You hear it; it's quite prevalent that there's holes in that thinking. No, you'd be more happy if you had a nicer car. If it didn't break down, you'd be more happy if you had a better cup of coffee.
But
You'd
would
be.
you?
It's not necessarily true. I mean, that's
Yeah.
from a certain
Yeah.
vein of thought.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a quote in Count of Monte Cristo. Remember that movie?
No.
Okay, so Count of Monte Cristo.
James
there's-
Casaville.
Yeah, James Casaville. So
Yeah.
he plays, he's a poor kid. And then Guy Pearce plays a rich kid.
Mm.
And they both kind of love the same girl. And as they're adults now, they grow up together. As adults, Guy Pearce, who's like this prince, essentially, he hates Jim Caviezel. He hates Jim, this poor guy. And the girl astutely says, you hate him because when we were kids, he was more happy with a yo-yo than you were with your pony. It's like,
Wow.
Yeah.
what a line.
Yeah.
True.
Like,
Love that.
That's why you hate him.
Yeah.
Okay, because I just love it. That's
that.
that's it. Just it doesn't matter what you have.
No,
are,
man.
are you happy with what you have? You know.
And at the end of the day, look, we're all fathers here,
Hmm.
right? I think as fathers,
Shout out to our offspring.
right? You know, whether it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs or not,
Yeah.
we want to look out for our family first,
Mm.
Hmm.
then our friends, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like looking back and I'm like, how much do you really need in life, to sort of have, we want to give our kids what we didn't have and we want
Right.
to give them a head start. How much do you really need to have to give them? It's not a lot.
You know what it is?
We don't need to give our kids $10 million.
I can tell you what it is.
Mm.
I've thought about this a lot. I've seen it play out a lot. This is something I've tried to be in tune with. They don't care what you get them. Your kids don't care what you get them. They just want you. Okay.
When they're young.
They just want you. No. Like,
Wait till they're teenagers.
Yeah.
No, it's true. Yeah.
no, but
They don't want you.
No,
They want you to give them.
Yeah.
they change their frequency for a time.
But when
But
they're young, 100%.
they just want you.
Dogs are like that.
Right? I mean, your son,
Yeah.
your daughter, when you're doing these trips, you're traveling, all that matters is they went with you.
So all my kids talk about. They don't talk. Dad, the trip to San Francisco was the best. My trip to Chicago was the best.
Yeah.
We should do it again.
Yeah.
You're
And
right.
again, and then if you get to the core, they might say like, "Oh yeah, we got to, hold the Super Bowl trophy. We got to do all these different experiences."
Yeah,
but at the core,
The
it's because
core.
they're spending time with you.
or like that feeling, man. Like I haven't, obviously my kids are 19 and 17 now, but like when you just come home and it's Daddy. I mean, you're there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right? You're there when you come home and your kids are just happy to see you.
Yeah.
You could have had a great day or you could have had a bad day. They don't care. They just,
Right.
Daddy's home.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now I'll tell you, the lie is to think that that's going to wear off. It's not true. For the majority of families, it wears off because they get tired or they get exhausted doing their job. I've seen families where the 18-year-old, the 23-year-old daughter comes in the house, tackles the mom, tackles the dad, big hugs. They like that play, that dynamic of like it never leaves them. Okay, it is true. It almost feels like that's like not a reality. For the majority of homes, it's not. People go, they're on their device.
Yeah.
Hey, what's in the fridge,
Oh,
whatever. Like,
yeah.
that's the dynamic, and I think I wouldn't believe it unless I saw it differently.
Well, my kids, I was that guy. I was at home, but when I was at home, which wasn't often,
Yeah.
but when I was at home, I was
Same.
on my phone. And my kids are like, Dad, I remember like when we were young, like now they can tell me.
Yeah.
Like, we remember that. We remember the time that you weren't paying attention to us and you were on your phone or you were texting or you were calling or you were just ignoring us.
Wow.
So you were there physically, but
yeah,
that's
Wow.
it, right?
yeah.
Wow.
So
So again, look, as men, as fathers, as husbands, like, we want to provide. This is, forget what the society says.
Yeah.
I'll own it. I feel inside me, this is my purpose.
Yeah.
Part of my purpose is to provide, to make a way to. Within that, though, I've got in tune that my kids just want me. I've seen it play out. I've seen people with great wealth, and their kids despise them.
Yes.
They literally hate them.
Yeah.
Okay. I met a girl through my older brother who, again, I might have said this before. Her father is a household name. He is beloved by people all over the world. She utterly hates him.
Mm-hmm.
If I said her last name,
You would know.
you would not believe it. You would not, like, okay, but her father, she can't stand him
Yeah.
because he was never there for the family.
Yeah.
He was a womanizer. There's this whole other side.
Sure.
But just because he's this actor and we all love him,
Yeah.
okay? But this is real life right now. If you're measured by the people, those 5 people, what about your own family? What does your own family say about you? Your own kid, right? So like, I actually think it's really cool that when you seek out these top stakes in the world, your son's like, I like the keg.
I do too.
I think
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
It brings me back to earth because at the end of the
That's
day,
amazing.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, those stakes to me weren't that great.
Yeah,
Right,
no, but even
right,
still, what if they
right.
were the best? Like, let's go even deeper. He just wants to spend time with you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is, and I say that just because someone out there could be listening,
Okay.
thinking. Because look, let me pick it apart. The money gains you the experience, and the experience makes you happy.
So let me prove that theory right. So we went to Chicago. My son's 16 at the time. He's now 17. He's into that Chicago, South Side Chicago,
Okay,
gangster rap.
yeah.
All that's
Yeah.
infatuated by it.
Yeah,
The same way I was with Compton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can't be mad at
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Compton
yeah,
or
yeah.
Queens.
Yeah.
I was a Queens guy.
You were a Queens
New
guy.
York.
I was
Yeah.
Okay.
I was the Compton guy.
Yeah.
Right. So I get it.
Where
I
were you?
understand.
Where were you?
Flamo.
Okay.
Oh yeah. There was GDP was a fun.
He's a top 40. You're a top 40 listener growing up.
Me.
Every-
yeah.
Fresh was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So we go to Chicago. He wanted to go there. So again, through my travels and my.
Did you go to the South Side?
Let me finish.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Why don't you just talk?
Sorry.
No. So listen. So we go. We
Yeah.
stay at the W in a suite downtown Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
We go have some Wagyu steaks at one of the top restaurants in the world.
I
We
love
go-
Chicago, by the way.
Oh,
I love it,
dope.
man.
We go and have the deep dish pizza. We go walk Michigan Ave. I go. My friend is like a super famous clothing designer from Chicago who's now world famous. And
Nice.
he has a clothing store there, so he tells me what to do, where to go. We're going to the top stores. It's back to, it was my son's birthday is August 23rd, so it's back to school. So like
That's a
most
nice time
parents,
of year.
that's what we usually do, right?
Yeah.
And this specific year, which was last year, our California trip just got moved to November
Okay.
for a few reasons. And so that would be usually parked for California, but that year it was like, we're going to go to California in November.
Yeah.
So, okay, great. If we're not going, I'm going to take my son to Chicago. So we go for 3 days. Like I said, I've got I'm not trying to say this stuff now. I feel almost bad now, guilty. That's another
Yeah.
This whole ego thing makes me feel guilty about saying
Okay.
some of these things. But like, had a driver, right? Like,
Yeah.
did it up for myself.
Don't feel
Yeah.
guilty, man.
Yeah.
That's the other side. That's false humility. No joke. That's another ditch.
What?
To feel guilty that you actually have options.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
we know your heart. No,
Yeah.
man.
No,
You're
no,
you're,
no,
you're
that's
so
fair.
generous. It is
Uh,
another ditch. If ego's one, false humility
Yeah,
is the other.
It's not even that I feel guilty. It's that I feel guilty just breaking that up.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's part of the story
Yeah.
because I'm trying to show you that like
Yeah.
this trip was like business. Okay, we fly business class. We have our own driver. We're staying at a suite at the W Hotel, which is a nice
Yeah.
hotel chain.
Yeah.
We're having deep dish pizzas. We're having Wagyu steaks. We went to this restaurant, which is a Michelin star restaurant, which is actually not expensive, by the
Yeah.
way. It's actually
That's cool.
It's
Yeah.
actually this is a dope restaurant called Girl in the Goat.
Okay.
She won Top Chef in the U.S., but it's not. It's the dinner for the two of us was like $100. It was
Yeah.
very affordable.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very popular place. People were recommending it. I never heard of it.
Yeah.
A bunch of friends kept saying it. It kept coming back
Yeah, you
up.
gotta
Yeah.
go. You gotta go.
Had to go.
Yeah.
Me being me, start making a lot of friends as we're going shopping. I get put onto more cool stuff within the city. The
Yeah.
best cheeseburger in the U.S. is at this place in Chicago
Okay.
called Au Cheval.
Okay.
I think they have the best pizza too.
No.
No?
It's
I
debatable.
heard maybe years ago
Their
they won
deep
it.
dish is what they're known for, but that's a tourist thing. A local told me
I
that's
see.
actually what's called tavern pizza, which is more of a flatbread.
Yeah.
It's actually tourists who eat the deep dish.
Oh wow.
Ketchup's a no-no in Chicago. It's banned in Chicago.
No way.
Real
like
tomatoes.
for like fries.
That's my kind of place.
Fries, hot dogs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Two reasons. One, it's just real tomatoes,
Yeah.
diced.
Yeah.
But because the mustard headquarter factory was in Chicago or something
Yeah.
years ago,
Oh,
so there's this
No.
whole
Wow.
pro
It's
mustard
real. Are
vibes.
you hearing this?
Jeez, man.
But
Division
the
between
locals-
mustard and ketchup.
Like I walk into stores and I'm
Hold
making
on.
friends. I'm making friends, right? So they're telling me all this authentic stuff you wouldn't know.
yeah.
So this one dude's talking to me and he's like, dude, you got to go to Au Cheval. I've never heard of it. So what this place is it's a breakfast bar. It seats maybe 40 people, but they were voted the best cheeseburger in the US. And the menu's very simple. There's about 20 items on the menu and the burger's right in the middle and it doesn't stand out. And I actually missed it when I went there. I didn't see it on the menu.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm like,
wow.
where's the cheeseburger? Because that's what everyone was eating.
Yeah.
But they have like eggs and bacon.
Yeah,
Like it's not a fancy place, but there's a 3-hour wait.
Wow.
And they open at 10 a.m. and they close at midnight. But there's a
Okay.
3-hour wait. So this dude tells me, he's like, like a cool dude, right? From the city. He's like, bro, he goes, you want the trick to get in there and not wait 3 hours? I'm like, what? He goes, go at 10 o'clock before there's a lineup because everybody shows up for lunch. But by then there's a lineup.
Yeah.
So my son and I went. We get there at like 10:30, quarter to 11. It was an hour wait.
Wow.
Still, wow.
But it's in the kind of like a cool
Yeah,
trendy
yeah, yeah,
area.
there's stuff
So I'm
happening.
like,
There's
yo,
stuff
I'll
happening.
take that 1 hour rezo.
Yeah.
So we walk around, come back. The buzz is us, come back. The guy in front of us, this is an hour later. It's now like 11:30, 11:45. Guy in front of us is making a rezo. They're like, okay, sir, it's 3-hour wait.
Oh my.
So that
goodness,
with
yeah.
by noon, there's a 3-hour wait. Anyways, my point is, I take him on this great trip. We go shopping, buying him some really nice clothes that a kid of his age shouldn't be having.
Yeah.
$600 sweaters.
Wow.
Stupidness.
Yeah.
Stupidness.
Shame on you.
No, stupidness. And he's worn this sweater like 3 times. Like,
All right.
It's this really gaudy brand that
Yeah.
stands out.
Just
And
ask him if he's happy. If he says yes, then you're good.
well, okay, now let's get to the point of the story, right? I'm buying the sweater more. He wants it. I can provide it. He doesn't need it. He's wanted this brand for a couple of years. I never bought it in the past because I'm like, I'm not buying you a $500-600 sweater. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But then I did, right?
Yeah.
After 3 years,
What would the Enbridge engineer think?
right?
Yeah.
What would he know this brand?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
So we get there, and I surprise him. And I said, guess what? He goes, where'd it go? We're going to Southside Chicago.
Mm.
My son's 17. I have never, ever seen him so happy and excited.
Wow.
And all we did
It's good
is we got
call,
my
man.
driver
Yeah.
to take us to the hood.
Have
And
you been there? Constantine,
Never.
Have you
been
been?
there? Yeah.
Never.
Oh, yeah.
I can't explain it.
Oh, that's why I'm laughing, because for him to be so elated, like you've never seen him, because you're gonna drive through the south side of Chicago, that doesn't make sense.
Right.
And like my friends that live there, my friends that are from there, are like, don't go. dude, like
Yeah.
seriously don't. And it's
Yeah.
they call it Chirac.
Right.
Yeah.
It's where the murder capital is. Like, I mean,
Wow.
when you hear about 100 murders in Chicago,
Yeah.
98 in a weekend,
Yeah.
98 of them were in like a 10-block radius.
Which is
Jeez.
crazy.
It's insane, but
Yeah.
I also understand now why, because it's weird. It's all
Okay.
gated. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
So anyways,
Yeah.
we just went. We went down there for like 2 hours, and he got to see.
You walked around?
We walked carefully in a couple,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only
Yeah.
select places you
Yeah.
can.
but my driver drives some of the rap artists.
Yeah. So he knew the area.
Oh yeah, he knew
Yeah.
well. I mean, he was like, "I got you,
Yeah.
Mr. Neil. I got you, Mr. Neil. I got you, Mr.
Yeah.
Neil."
Yeah. You kind of don't want to do that without a driver.
No,
Yeah,
no, no.
yeah.
So look, don't get me, bro. Listen, like,
So
You
this
see
is how
that-
you retell the story without an ego. You know, for the sake of safety, we got a driver who knew the neighborhood. Right? There you go.
That's
Just
a good
saying.
one.
There you go. Give second one.
so we get there, and like people are looking at us. I mean, a black SUV driving slowly in the
Yeah,
hood.
absolutely.
The only thing is, we went during the day. So what happens is, it's at night when the violence happens,
Yeah.
more so than the daytime.
Right.
Now
But
is
you get
son wearing the $600 sweater?
No.
Okay, good.
Now he'll deny this, but he was scared.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
I wasn't as scared.
Okay.
I'll be honest. I'm not saying I was like, oh, I don't
Yeah.
care. But I
No,
wasn't the
but-
one like I remember I had the window down and I was videotaping and taking pictures. He's like, Dad, put the window
No,
up, put
don't
the
do
window
that.
up.
Yeah.
But he had his window down, but he had it down an inch and he had his phone like that.
Okay.
Right? We went into like the Burger King, like right in the hood. Like my
Okay.
driver's like, man, well, watch this. We get into the dude. It was like a scene out of a movie.
Yeah, straight.
It was like there was 2 people working behind the counter. There was 10 people in line. There was a 75-year-old. I'm not joking. She was in her 70s, probably grandmother with her granddaughter, swearing and screaming at the girl behind the counter, saying she's waiting too long and no
Wow.
teeth. It was just like what
Yeah.
you would see in a movie.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you had other guys drinking beer, alcohol, 40s. I'm not joking. Like
Yeah.
malt liquor in the Burger King sitting
Yeah.
there. It was just like
Yeah.
every stereotypical thing.
Yeah.
And then my driver was like, he was pretending that we were going to buy food, but he just did it because he knew that there'd be a lineup. So he's like, so he took us to like, a gas station was taped up because there was a murder there 2 nights before. real
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like entire plazas boarded up except the liquor store was the only store open.
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
so-
Always thriving.
Built houses and buildings with like wooden, instead of windows, it's just boarded up.
Yeah.
But people live there.
Right.
What we
Yeah.
would see here, which would be closed and inhabitable, no, families living in these types of environments, right?
Yeah.
So we were exposed to it. But my point is, the whole story is, for all the fancy restaurants and hotels and business class and nice clothes, the one thing he still talks about to this day is that 90-minute trip to the hood to take him to the belly of the beast. No different than if I went to Compton when I was 15, I would have been elated.
Did you
Right.
talk to any people when you guys were there? Did you have a chance to talk to?
No.
Yeah.
My driver was like,
If you do it again, I recommend it. And I tell you this because I used to do work. I had a chance to work in Camden, New Jersey. Okay. And Camden, across the river
I know it,
of
yeah.
Philly. Okay, so was voted most violent city
Sure.
in the U.S. 4 out of the last 10 years. So
Okay.
it has a
Yeah,
rep.
yeah.
And I remember I was there. I was a youth worker in Toronto, and the youth organization I was part of had roots in Camden. They
Okay.
kind of did after school programs for kids, basketball programs. So we checked to kind of let's see where it all started, and we go there, and they have a school bus painted white, and everyone who's from outside the city, they get you on this white bus, and they're going to drive you through the neighborhoods, north, south, in east, west Camden, and it turns into literally like a safari. I'm not joking. As we're driving, everybody has the bus windows down, and they're taking pictures. And it's like, oh my goodness, that guy's braiding it. He's getting his hair braided on the stoop. And no joke, they're literally like, they're taking pictures of people living. And the people who are living are looking, and they know this white bus. They're not warm to it. It's just like, because
Like
What are
we're
we-
animals.
it's a
Animals,
spectacle.
exactly,
It's
yeah.
one. Now again, I want to give you the premise. Why the people are on the bus is they're either maybe donating money to this charity, or they're going to work at this charity. So they should be kind of connected to the heart of what it's about. They're not just like, these aren't tourists. These are
Right.
people that are about this
Yeah.
work, which is to help these communities, but they still are going around like it's a spectacle. So we get word that we're going to stop because they get part of the tour is they have planned, and you get like an ice, what's it called? Not a snow cone.
Snow cone.
They get a snow cone.
Hell, it sounds so
And-
funny.
Yeah, it's bizarre. So we get the snow
To
cone.
say the least.
And I'm there with a guy, a brother of mine. His name's Kevin. Okay, shout out to Kevin Hastings, London's finest, London, Ontario.
Yeah.
Yep. And we see this guy, and he's just on this lowrider, and he's riding this bike, and he's watching us, and he's seeing this crowd. So we're like, let's go talk to this guy. And we go, and we walk down the street, and we're in this neighborhood, but we talk to this guy. I'll never forget him. Puerto Rican guy. His name's Angel. Okay, all tatted up on a low. And he's like, "What are you guys doing here?" And we're talking. We're saying we're from Toronto. Then some of his friends come around the corner. We're talking music, talking sports, and the most real, coolest guys. Just like the coolest guys. Okay.
Yeah.
We walk back to get our snow cone, and we're the last two to get back on the safari bus. So Kevin and I get our snow cones. We jump on, and everyone, bro, the whole bus is quiet. There's like 44 people packed in there, and they're 44. That's the number. And they're literally looking at us, and they're like, "What happened? What happened?" And they're literally whispering. And we're like, "What? What do you say? Why did he call you guys over?" They actually thought that they were trying to rob
you,
us
of course,
and all
yeah.
this stuff.
Yeah.
And though everyone, when we walked that way, we didn't know this. Everyone else was told, get on the bus. Okay?
Yeah.
And they were watching, thinking that the movie scene would play out.
Yeah,
Right.
So I say that
I get it.
they're people.
100%.
They're just
Yeah.
people. You know?
I went for my grade 12 or OAC grad trip or whatever to Washington,
Yeah?
and
Oh,
this is
bro.
well, Washington's different now.
Yeah.
Not like that at all.
Okay.
Oh, all that poverty's moved to Baltimore now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I went to Washington a couple of years ago, and I think I told you this. You got to go there.
Yeah.
Everything's free. So this is Smithsonian, all the museums,
Mhm.
the zoos, everything's free there. So, no, they've cleaned up the city. One of my best trips in the last 10 years I've gone on.
Mhm.
I want to go back. It's so great there. So I found out that they've gentrified it and pushed everything sort of to Baltimore. So Baltimore's,
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting better.
So Washington's actually really safe and great in the downtown Washington area. But when I went as a teenager with my high school, I don't know where we were at this. I can't remember. One of those tourist sort of places where there's parks and stuff. And same point, just started talking to these dudes. And they probably were on drugs
Yeah.
or they were homeless and all that. But,
Yeah.
you know, we were so consumed as kids to like black culture and American culture,
Yeah.
black American culture, you know, that like it was just kind of dope to be around these like
I know.
these like black American dudes and everything.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, man, and you're like, yeah, man.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
we were like kind of into it.
Yeah.
Just like you said, started talking to all of them. We get back to our school bus, and my teachers and the tour company, whatever, they were looking at us like scared.
Yeah.
And all I remember was the guy's like, all right, man, will you be good? Guy daps me, says hi to my teachers, and my teachers had this look of fear.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
bye.
Yeah.
But we just talked to these guys.
They're
in the park.
people,
Yeah,
man. They're
yeah,
people. They're
yeah.
people. They have dreams. They have nightmares.
You know how, yeah.
They just want to eat. They just want to listen to something good.
Now, that being
They
said,
wanna
though,
laugh.
You also have to be careful. Too.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
I
you
know.
Just can't just talk to anyone because
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
It can be dangerous, but again, there's still people. There's
Yeah.
still real people that live there. Good
sure.
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, I'll just say this today, Neil. I mean, it's been another learning experience to find out that something negative could be turned into a positive. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel though,
Yeah.
if you didn't take this opportunity that was given to us, although against,
Yes.
we didn't want it, we didn't welcome it, and we didn't expect it.
Right.
I mean, I get it. Not everyone's got the same level of mental health, or I don't know if that's the right word, or the right level of
Options.
Yeah.
options,
Or loving
mindset,
family
Yeah.
around
mindset,
them.
loving
Family
home.
support, all that.
Yeah.
But like I just and I think I may even posted this on Facebook. I'm like, if you didn't take this time to improve in some capacity, man, you just failed. Like
Right.
if you can't look back on the last 8 or 9 months and just at least say, I learned this, or
Yes.
I did this, or I discovered this, or I improved here, then you just wasted an opportunity, a
Yeah.
gift. And
Right.
COVID wasn't a gift, but I'm saying like the gift of time was we were given back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We were given back that gift of time, and
Yeah, some say that it burst our first world bubble, and it was very needed that we had this oasis that we've built because we've never been tested, especially in the West. We've never had anything like this. So there's the right outlook on it is it woke a lot of people up.
Yes,
It should have woke you up.
I sadly, I hope I'm wrong, but I feel as though a lot of people didn't take and learn from it.
No.
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 We're too coddled and spoiled in North America. It's just like I think a lot of people didn't. But I'm
it's true.
hoping that a lot of people, especially my friends and acquaintances and people around
Yeah.
me, have been able to sort of just do better, or not like better themselves at
Right.
the very least.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If you can't right now better the world, that's fine, but at least better yourself.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
So
Yeah.
I feel like for me, even though financially, I also feel like I'm a lot stronger mentally and wiser in the last 9 months than I would have been had there been no pandemic.
yeah,
Yeah.
man.
And I think that's what kind of motivates me and has kept me ambitious going into 2021 is like, you know what? Like, I'm still here. I'm still standing. The business is still there. We're still got our financial difficulties and challenges and our business challenges, but like, I'm smarter.
Yeah.
I'm more soaked in with knowledge, and I'm more in touch with like what my purpose is in a sense.
With
like,
less
what
ego.
I want.
With less
with
ego,
less
or at
ego.
least being conscious of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, just going back to what I was saying,
That's a win. That's a win.
is at
Yeah.
the end of the day, when we pass on, we're going to leave what we have to our kids.
That's right.
For the most part, 99% of us, that's what all we can do. We only have
Yes.
enough to really give
That's
to our
right.
kids,
Yeah.
right? So like for me, I'm like, well, so how much do I really want? What do I want? Like, what do I really want?
Yes.
Like I've had nice cars and nice materialistic things. I've had lavish weekends. I've had the LA experience, but like, okay, we've been through it all now. Let's reset. Let's reevaluate. Let's relook. What brought me the most happiness? What do I really want? What do I have that I can show for it now? You know, and other than some great memories, it's like, okay, what I need to focus on now is building security for myself and my friends and family.
Yeah.
Then other groups, that the autism and the
Yeah.
you know, people with disabilities and whatnot, because I want to do that. But then also set myself up to where my kids will be taken care of when I pass on.
Yeah.
And when I had kids, I had a little. I've always done this. I've always jotted down notes, not a vision board, but I used to be in college and I would write little notes down like, how much do I want to make when I graduate college?
Right.
My goal is $2,000 a month, $500 a week. You know, I always make these little funny doodles
Yeah.
and have these little notes. And like for me, when I had my kids, my goal was I want to make sure that their post-secondary was paid for.
Yes.
And then I want to be able to help give them their first property, like a down
Yeah.
payment for the first place. I felt if I can at least do those two things, they're ahead of 85%, 90% of everyone else.
Right.
And I just read a stat somewhere, and I forget the stat now, but it was like people that don't have debt after college, university are like 12 years ahead
Okay.
because they don't have that financial burden,
Right.
and they're already ahead.
Yeah.
So for me, when I had my kids, it was I want to make sure they have their first piece of real estate
Yeah.
and they don't have to worry about college, university.
Right.
Then I've already given them at least an advantage.
Yes.
So again, I'm not saying this to sort of sound arrogant, but I accomplished that for them. They've got that. I was able to put that, and they have that. They don't know that, so I hope they didn't watch.
Yeah.
My daughter knows it now because she's in college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, so I'm sitting there going, well, shit, I've already marked those two off. So now what else do I need to give them? So then I look back and I'm like, well, I've got these like life insurance policies and these other policies that pay out pretty handsomely when I pass. So as long as I keep paying into them, my kids are going to collect some
Yeah.
zeros. And then I had the conversation, you know, the hard conversation we have to have now with our parents being our age and our parents being their age they're at. My mom's
Well,
73.
Yeah.
So she goes, I need to talk to you and your sister about my will.
Yeah.
And she goes, look, I'm splitting it down the middle. You guys 50-50.
Yeah.
So I'm going to inherit whatever comes with that. But I don't need it. I told her,
Yeah.
I said, Mom, I'm not going to fight with my sister if it comes to it. I don't want to fight over anything. Make it very clear and clean.
Yeah.
We split the assets. My mom has 2 properties. I
Yeah.
get 1. My sister gets 1. Any other assets, we split it.
Yeah.
But like, I'm thinking, not that I don't need it, but like, I don't need it today.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what
So
you're saying.
if I end up getting that, if I don't use it, it's just going down to my kids.
Right.
So how much more do I really need for my kids at this
Right.
point? Like
Right.
I'm not a millionaire.
Right.
I'm not striving to be some multi-millionaire
Yeah.
that I need to have my kids having $50 million,
Yeah. Exactly.
they've got it, man. I've set them up now.
Yeah.
Now I'd rather soak them with knowledge to set them up for success,
Right.
or support them in their endeavors or with their education, or provide them more general wisdom and insight, and spend that time
Yes.
saying, okay, my daughter wants to be a school teacher. So what's the right steps, knowing you and everything to get to that,
Yes.
to be happy and fulfilled, knowing you won't have to worry about paying off your student loan,
Right.
and knowing that when you move into your first condo, it's paid for. Not entirely, but at least the down payment.
Yeah. Of course.
I've already helped you. So now let me help you with the more simple, not simple things, but the easier things that money can't replace.
Okay.
Yeah, which is like your wisdom and your insight and your mistakes. And again, that's just there's an inheritance that we can leave that has nothing to do with money.
Right.
Nothing. Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
there's
Thank
a whole, and is that just
That's where I'm at right now.
yeah.
My son's 16, but he started a business in the summer. He started paving
Nice.
driveways on his own.
Oh yeah,
He made. I didn't even know this. He made like 5-6 grand
yeah.
Nice.
knocking on doors. He started selling PPE masks because my friend had a bunch he bought.
Right.
So he was going door to door and also going to stores selling
Amazing.
them, right? But I started telling him, I'm like, so he comes home and he's like, yeah, we only got 2 houses today, this, that, the other. So I said, how many houses have you done? He's like, oh, we've done about 20. I said, and do you know the address and the names of the houses you did? He's like, no, it's down the street. I go, do you know the addresses? Did you collect the name and phone number of the people that you did it for? He's like, no. I said, okay, look. I said, you're building a business right now. I said, what you need to do is you need to get their name, their phone number, their email address. I said, next year, you can message them right away.
Yep.
And what he said was, he found that whenever he was paving a driveway, someone
Somebody
would
else.
pull up
Yeah.
and be like, hey, how much is this? Can I use you?
Always, yeah.
I said, so imagine you did 20, 30 homes this year. And if you guys did a good job and they were happy, there's a 95% chance you're going to get them next year.
Right.
That's already repeat business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go,
You can start to create a budget off that.
by next year, if you don't write this information out, you're going to forget the house.
Yeah.
You're going to run out of touch. The other thing you need to do is you need to send them an email thanking them for the opportunity, because they might say, and then in that email, you might say, if you have any friends you could refer us to, we'd be glad to give you a discount next year.
Yeah.
Like something to
Yeah.
So I'm teaching him these ways to retain business,
Good.
but get new business instead of, because there's days where he was knocking on doors and got nothing.
Right.
And I said, you're not working smart.
Right.
You're working hard,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but you're not working smart. We need
Right.
you to work smart.
Right.
Told me you should make business cards. He ran and went and made business cards. Now, it was a bit of a push and pull because I was so happy he got up and spent $40 and went to Business Depot and made his own business cards or
Right.
Staples, but they weren't. He didn't do it right.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So then he came home and I started to critique the business cards. He got a little bit pissed off that I was critiquing them, which
Yeah.
is fair.
Right.
I should have treated it
No, I know,
differently.
I know,
I should have, and that's
Well,
part of the.
And he
course.
didn't ask. That's why, right?
He didn't ask, but he's
Yeah.
also stubborn like me. He doesn't want. I know. He doesn't want to ask.
Yeah, yeah.
I can do this on my own. Meanwhile,
It's like when he draws a picture when he was younger. He drew a picture of a Lamborghini, and you're like, "Well, that looks kind of like a Land Rover." It's like
yeah. But no, so like, being able to teach my son, like he wanted to go door to door on the PPE stuff. I go, you're not going door to door. I go,
Right.
here's what you're going to do. I go, you're going to take the 2 boxes. You're going to stand outside Costco at 9:00 in the morning on a Saturday. I go, online, if you Google Costco, they're selling pretty much the same masks, box of 50 for $25. You're going to sell 3 for $25. $10 a box or 3 for $25. I go, so now we're going to go to the office. We're going to print out these pamphlets that show the same masks in Costco. You're going to give them 3 times the amount for $25
Right.
for the same price or for 1/3 the cost. I go, there's 300 people lined up at Costco every Saturday morning. Just keep walking down the line,
Yeah.
keep walking down the line and keep trying to do it. Or do you want to knock on doors where half the people aren't home, half aren't interested?
one at a time.
At Costco, people have money they're willing to
Yeah.
spend.
Yes.
Right? If
Yeah.
you really want to take it a step further, go get one of those square things. So if they say, well, I don't have cash, you can just swipe them.
Yeah.
The technology's allowed us to like alleviate people's excuses now.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was guiding him, and I'm like, my son's very entrepreneurial. He's got a lot of big ideas, but I find I see a lot of myself in him. So I want to be able to like help him.
It's good.
And although we fight a lot, like he's like me. He's stubborn and he's
Yeah.
hard headed. So, but I know I'm seeing he'll listen. Like he'll
That's good, man.
push
Yeah.
back, but then I see him sort of.
Again, principle of selling the same effort to sell one item is
Like-
the same to sell a box or to sell a truckload. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
2 weeks
Yeah.
ago, he just got up and said, "I'm going to start asking people if they want me to shovel their driveway. I'm bored." He did. He ended up
Yeah.
getting like $300, $400 in sales in like a day with him and his buddy,
And a good
Nice.
workout.
and a great workout.
Yeah.
And I said, "How much you charging?" He's like, $25. I go, "Listen." I go to Home Depot, go buy 2 bags of salt, and tell them for an extra $5, you put salt on it. Those
Yeah.
bags cost you $10. I go, you could probably do all the driveways with the 1 bag for $5. Right?
Did it?
So trying to help him. I believe
Yeah.
he did that. I believe
Yeah.
he did. I can't remember. I
He's
think
cutting into his profit though
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he could shovel again.
Yeah, fair enough.
So he's been good. He's been
know.
good.
But it's also quality service.
No, yeah, no, I know. It's true.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I'm just right now. I'm at the point where it's like I'm rebuilding, but I'm not. I think it's we put so much emphasis on money.
Yes.
You know what?
having to
You know what he
provide
needs. To,
financially.
this is the one thing. If you're teaching him that, also teach him the other side. How to be responsible with the money. Money doesn't make the man. All your stories.
I have
This is where he's going to really benefit. You
I-
can. He's going to ask you. He's going to try to figure out what you did.
I
Yeah.
thank you, Mike. I actually did for the last year. I'm like, look, man, I know you're all money driven and Elon Musk and
Yeah.
billions and millions
Yeah.
and houses, and he's
Yeah.
at that materialistic age and stage and
Yeah.
influence. And I'm like, but at the end of the day, man, I go take it from somebody who's been there. Like, you want to be happy, you want to feel fulfilled,
Yeah.
Yes.
and I keep trying to show him like, go look at this celebrity and see why they're depressed and they have
Right.
everything.
Right.
Money's not everything. So
That's
to your
right.
point, I've
Yeah.
actually started to try and teach him, but I also have to keep in mind he's 17. Like,
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
mature is his thought process? But because
You'd
I've
be
been
surprised though.
investing-
You'd be surprised.
No,
you
no,
know?
you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, they might not take it in and tell you
Yeah.
because they don't want to let you know they listen.
Yeah.
But one of the things that he's done, kudos to him, is I have been getting into stocks quite a bit since the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
and he's now invested some money in stocks and he's made money on them. He's doubled his money.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to like manage it,
That's
teach
good,
him
man.
a little few things about
Yeah,
stocks.
man.
I'm by no means a stocks expert, but I'm
Yeah.
explaining to him like how to do things. So I'm like, look, before you go and just give me $500 and say buy this stock, understand why, understand the cost of purchasing the stock, have an exit plan. Like
Yes.
lessons I needed to learn.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah.
So now he's got that. So he bought the stock 2 weeks ago. It was 50 cents. He goes, Dad, this thing's going at least to $2-3. He gave me $500 because he was like, how much is it going to be if I get this amount? Because I
Yeah.
had to explain to him like currency exchange.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a cost when you buy the stock. There's a cost when you sell it. So just because it's 50 cents a share, when you buy it, it's not 50 cents a share. You got to factor in the cost of buying it.
Mm-hmm.
Might be 52 cents a share at the end of the day.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you sell it. So anyways, I'm teaching these tricks so he gets it. A stock's $1.10 or $1.20 now. So he's doubled his money.
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, he's ahead of me. You know,
Mhm.
he's ahead of me. So the kid's
Well, look, man.
focused.
Yeah.
as,
It's amazing.
as for anyone that's listening, as we wrap, moment of reflection, what 2021 will bring us is sit back. I mean, the question to ask is, am I happy? And if I'm not happy, really, what am I defining my happiness to, right? Or what am I leading? Should I get happiness from wealth? Should I get happiness just from family? What is it?
Yeah.
And I think if people just sit back and reflect on that, you know, it just might give them a better realistic expectation of what this year's going to bring.
Like money gives you like security
Yeah.
and maybe opportunity,
Right.
but doesn't necessarily make you happy.
No.
Mhm.
And I
Some
think
of-
that's key, man. I think
Some of the happiest people I know don't have a lot.
no.
Yeah. Very true.
No.
They're just
I'm,
appreciative.
bro,
Yeah.
I'm fine
Yeah.
with my Old Navy jeans and my Honda Civic. I mean, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you know, I'm happy. You know what I mean? And I think we all go through these ups and downs. It's just kind of looking at it from that different angle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But listen, Neil, thank you so much, bro, for being part of this again today. I think a lot of people, and I'm just going to say this generally, will hear this and also make those evaluations that they may need to make in their life. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you know, it's important for mental health, also just, like I said, the overall happiness and desires of the individual, just to, you know, wake up. And
The one other thing that I wanted to just sort of throw in there that
Yeah, man.
that's just been sitting here is that, you know, we're always in such a hurry.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what's the hurry? Life's a journey. It's a marathon. It's not a
Yes.
race.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like I look at people that live till they're 90 and I'm like, wait a second. That would be twice my life.
Yes.
Let's say I live another 43 years.
Right.
You know, in the perspective of how long Earth's
Yeah.
been around, it's
Yeah.
not long. But
Yeah, that's a long time.
I've got
Yeah.
43 years
Yeah.
left to accomplish my goals
Yeah.
and be there.
That's right.
So, you know, at the end of the day, like everyone's so quick to make money and do this and do that and be in the moment. It's
Yes.
like, you know what? Take a step back.
Just enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Warren Buffett has a great saying.
Yeah.
I know that Mikey's into all these things.
Yeah.
The most successful stock investor of all time, right? But not
Undoubtedly.
even,
Yeah.
like not
Yes.
even close.
Yeah.
Not even a debate.
Yeah.
Might be people with more money, but they're not a stock guy.
Yes.
And he's not secretive about what his approach is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's very open and he's explained it and it's for all to see and hear. And they go, how come no one listens to you? And he goes, because nobody wants to get rich slow.
Mm.
Everybody wants to get rich fast.
Yeah.
Right.
And I believe it wasn't until his 50s that he became a millionaire.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But once he got to that level,
Took off.
Oh, it was like, yeah, within 10 years, he was a multi-billionaire. But
Yeah.
he was like, it's not about, and I thought about that. I'm like, I'm guilty of it. Do I have the patience to wait on something for 5 or 10 years? You think that Amazon started 3 years ago?
Have you seen the documentary?
Yes.
Yeah.
A couple.
Yeah.
Started in the 90s, dude.
Right. That's right.
You think now Elon Musk, as we sit here on January what's the date today?
181 billion dollar.
He's the richest man in the world as of
Officially
yesterday.
As of
now, right?
yesterday,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Shout out to Elon. He's a good guy.
Dude, great guy,
Yeah,
and he's
man.
definitely helped me out.
Great
'cause
surfer.
I got some Tesla stocks. So
Okay.
but like he, he didn't start Tesla 3 years ago. He actually did an interview where he was like, he's like, I was down to my last 30 million of the $200 million fortune he had.
Yeah.
And he was like, I had
What a statement.
I know.
Yeah.
But it was like, he's like, I was down to my last 30 million. And
That's hilarious.
but he's not about money. For him,
Yeah.
it's not about money.
Yeah, no, that
Yeah.
doesn't.
So
He's
to
like
him-
Bruce
That's not his
Wayne.
driver.
He's Bruce Wayne.
He was
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah,
do I
he-
invest it
Yeah.
in Tesla or SpaceX, knowing that one of them might just go under?
Yeah.
And if you read the stories, there's been many times that Amazon, Tesla were like on the brink of collapse, bankruptcy, failure, go
Yeah.
under,
Yeah.
right? So my point in this is that like these guys worked hard, they had a vision, and they stuck with it for 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure you guys have seen the pictures of Bezos in his garage
Yeah. With
20
the
years
Amazon
ago.
writing on the wall.
Looking disheveled, like
Yeah.
your typical techie.
Yeah.
Same thing with
Yeah.
Elon Musk, who's
Yeah.
balding and all
Yeah,
that.
that's right.
Now they're like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
they're looking all right.
G's now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But these guys, they were prepared to put in the sacrifice and work hard and see it pay off 20 years down the road, not immediate. So I think that's the other thing too. Is like for me, I want my house in California, but I'm okay that I'm not going to get it this year or next year.
Look. If you're gonna go fast, you're gonna grind it. If you enjoy it,
Enjoy the ride, man.
that's all that matters.
Enjoy
Yeah.
the
I
ride.
know guys. They could spend 20 hours in a studio, and they're just meticulously going over their stems and their music. But if they really enjoy it, then it's all good.
Yeah, man.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Well, look, I do have to cut the show right now, but I will say this:
What's the hurry?
the hurry is.
As
Yeah,
Neil was saying.
I will say this, Neil. I will be a guest in your California home. I will be a guest.
You're more than welcome.
I'm speaking
Wow.
prophetic words right now.
Well, that
to Neil's
part of
room.
the vision
Yes,
is to entertain friends
Could you cut out a picture of us to just put us inside the vision board?
Yeah.
with your dog. With
First
your
guest.
dog.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but that is part of my vision is to have friends be able to take an inexpensive trip and enjoy
Yeah.
California for a week or two and stay at my house and hang
And
out.
all week in a Speedo. That's all I
Yeah.
want to do.
No.
All week.
Not when I'm there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, but honestly, again, thank you so much, Neil. I can't wait to kind of push this out, and I personally believe in my heart, and I'm not just saying this as that this year for you, Neil, is going to be a fantastic year.
Mhm.
And
Power.
Yeah,
Was it positive thinking or power
Yeah.
of positivity?
yeah, it is. I feel.
Yeah.
I honestly feel it. Like as the stars in your background, I honestly
Yeah.
feel that it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and again, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming down.
Thank you.
All right,
Yeah,
man.
for
man.
having me.
Awesome.
All right. Peace.
Well.
Make sure to drop by next week.
Let's go.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Let's go!
It's time to give a shout out to our sponsors. This podcast is brought to you by Sentinel Security Plus. For all your premium security needs, visit sentinelsecurityplus.com.